buy her story. So just not believable, lying piece of shit. So on the 30th, the bond would be rescinded after Casey's arrest for allegedly stealing and cashing checks from a friend, and due to the angry crowds demonstrating outside the Anthony's home. Fast forward to September 2008, and that is when her computer would get searched. And my God, it showed that Casey had looked up the words chloroform and neck breaking and household weapons. Suspicious, maybe? I don't know. And then fast forward another month, in October 14th, a grand jury indicts Casey on charges of first-degree murder, aggravated child abuse, aggravated manslaughter, and providing false information to law enforcement. And her father, George Anthony, testified before the grand jury that indicted Casey. So she obviously didn't like her dad that much. And 10 days later, on October 24th, forensic reports from an examination of Casey's car were released, noting that a hair strand discovered in the trunk is microscopically similar to those found in Kaylee's brush and showed characteristics of apparent decomposition. Additionally, an air sample of the trunk is found to contain...
It's that time of the year again. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for the yearly occurrence where I'm somewhere where I need to make a video, but for some reason I have none of my video equipment, so I have to go to Best Buy and buy a microphone I'm not used to, and overly apologize for bad audio quality that nobody hears but me. So, yeah. I'm out of town. The airline lost my luggage. I seem to have a knack for that happening to me. It's happened like 3 times. It hasn't happened to anybody I know, so that's cool. And all my stuff was in there, so here we are. That's also the explanation for this little beard situation I've got going on. Not a huge fan of that, but hey, I think we'll make it. That's not why you clicked on this video, though. You clicked on it to hear about a shitty music video. Now, it seems like recently, we've been talking more and more about the...
December 19th, 2008, DNA testing confirmed that the remains did belong to Kaylee Anthony. However, because the body had been left to decompose for so long, no tests were able to discern Casey Anthony's cause of death. So if they actually searched the area 4 months prior, maybe they would have known. Maybe Casey would be rotting in jail right now, but that's not the case. But internal investigation launched into Deputy Richard Kane's failure to investigate, luckily. The failure to investigate on Cronk's original report. And Kane was luckily found guilty of unsatisfactory performance and untruthfulness. And then on December 20th, a medical examiner would rule the death a homicide, but cannot determine the exact cause, as we know. And then on January 23rd, about a month after all of this, George Anthony, Casey's father, would be taken into custody after attempting sewer slide. And then on September 20th of 2009, so jumping way ahead, the duct tape found on the mouth of Kaylee Anthony was actually contaminated by an FBI document examiner, raising questions about how it would be used in prosecuting the 2-year-old girl's mother for the murder. And the disclosure of the contaminated duct tape was among hundreds of pages of evidence released by the state attorney's office in Orlando. And the contamination was discovered after FBI lab workers noticed female DNA on the duct tape, which neither matched Kaylee Anthony, Casey Anthony, or the toddler's grandmother, Cindy Anthony. And samples were taken to FBI workers who had handled the duct tape, and a match was found with a forensic document examiner. So just...
It's 3 a.m. and you're couch. Sound familiar? We know, and we can help. Introducing Moonbrew, the once daily magnesium sleep aid. That's designed to help you fall asleep, stay asleep, and wake up feeling your best.
Poor practicing all over with the FBI, with the police, just on top of everything. It's just so mishandled. This whole case could have been so different if people actually did their jobs. But on May 4th, 2011, jumping ahead a couple of years, Casey's murder trial would begin. And the prosecution would portray her as a party-loving mother who wanted to free herself from parental responsibilities, which... based. Well, the defense claimed that Kaylee accidentally drowned in the family pool, and that Casey's father, George Anthony, helped her cover it up. So from June 15th to June 23rd, 2011, that is when, during the trial, they went over all the forensic evidence. So I kind of want to go through each of the things just to let you know if you don't know, and to help with your opinion at the end of this, alright? So first of all, we have the human hair in the trunk. So a human hair was found in Casey Anthony's trunk and was examined, but lacked sufficient DNA for individual identification. Microscopic analysis showed it was similar to Kaylee Anthony's hair, but certainly was not confirmable. And mitochondrial DNA testing confirmed it belonged to a maternal lineage, meaning it came from either Kaylee, Casey, or Cindy Anthony. And notably, the hair exhibited decomposition characteristics suggesting it came from a deceased individual, which Casey's not deceased. Cindy's not deceased. Who's deceased? Kaylee. So I don't know why that is I don't know, but it wasn't substantial enough for the jury anyway. Next, we have decomposition detection. So a controversial odor analysis conducted by Dr. Arped Vass detected compounds linked to human decomposition in the trunk's air samples, which I didn't even know was a thing until this happened. However, this method was disputed by the defense, which pointed out that certain key decomposition markers were missing and that the technique lacked scientific acceptance. And FBI testing confirmed compounds consistent with human decomposition and unusually high levels of chloroform. Okay, that's bad. And then we have the stained paper towel. So a paper towel found in the trunk contained fly pupae and a substance consistent with adipocere, which is like grave wax, which forms from decomposing fat. And the defense argued that the stain could have come from garbage, not a body, since fatty acids and food waste can also form that adipocere. So there's that. And then we, of course, have the presence of chloroform. You know, what Casey Anthony looked up on her computer. So both Dr. Vass's analysis and FBI lab tests found that high levels of chloroform in the trunk. However, the source of chloroform remained uncertain, either from a decomposing body or from a spill in the carpet. And the prosecution tied this to Casey's internet searches to chloroform, while the defense challenged the reliability of both the evidence and the search history, which, is so dumb, dude. Is so dumb. And then we have insect activity. Dr. Haskell, a forensic entomologist, testified that insects found in the trunk were species associated with decomposing bodies. However, the defense's expert, Dr. Huntington, countered that these insects were common in trash, that no DNA testing was done on the maggots to confirm human decomposition. And additionally, experts disputed that estimated date of insect activity, with some suggesting decomposition began in early July, while others estimated it started in mid-July. And then, of course, we have the cyber evidence. Casey Anthony's computer search included chloroform, self-defense, which the prosecution cited as premeditation evidence. However, Cindy Anthony claimed she conducted the searches, and she said she had been looking up the term after her dogs had eaten bamboo leaves that contained chlorophyll, though timestamp evidence contradicted her claim completely as she was at work at the time. So I don't know if she was trying to, if she felt remorse for Casey at this point and was trying to help her cover it up. I'm not sure. And then we have the duct tape. So the prosecution argued that the duct tape found around Kaylee's remains was actually the murder weapon, theorizing it was placed over her mouth and nose to suffocate her. And an animation was shown in court to demonstrate this possibility. And the defense would counter that the jawbone remained attached to the skull, which is unusual in decomposition unless natural elements like hair, roots, or leaves hold it in place. And they argued that the duct tape was applied after decomposition, possibly as part of body disposal. So in summary, the forensic evidence presented in the Casey Anthony trial was largely circumstantial, with scientific disputes over decomposition, chloroform presence, and insect activity. And the prosecution framed it as proof of murder, while the defense challenged its credibility, leaving the jury without definitive forensic proof of how Kaylee actually died. And I'd like to note again that this probably all could have been avoided if they just listened to Kronk. If they just went after his call, Maybe, I don't know. It's just so frustrating. So on June 23rd, 2011, Casey's attorney, Jose Baez, said that she was by her father as a child, an allegation George Anthony denied on the witness stand. And George Anthony also told the jurors that Kaylee didn't die at his house, and he denied disposing of her body and placing duct tape over her face at all. He would quote to say, "I would have done everything possible to save my granddaughter if what was said happened, said George Anthony, the only witness to testify at this point so far.
You learned in December of 2008 that the remains of your granddaughter were found. What effect did that have on you?
Having her inside and seeing what my wife and my son went through.
Up to that
also claimed that Casey's brother made advances towards her and was given a paternity test to see if he was actually Kaylee's father, and that all these secrets eventually just led up to the cover-up of Kaylee's drowning, which is just like a crazy story to manufacture. But okay. Also, her brother wasn't the father. Spoiler alert. But Bays would say that Kaylee and her grandmother swam most of Father's Day on June 15th, 2008, and suggested that Cindy Anthony forgot to pull up the ladder that prevented the toddler from climbing into the pool on her own. And Bays suggested that Kaylee slipped into the pool the next day and no one was looking and she would accidentally drown. This is what the defense is claiming. And they claim that the distraught family panicked and decided to cover it up and bury the little Kaylee in their backyard. And they just didn't call the police, which makes no sense. Why would you cover up a complete accident by making it look like a murder? That makes no sense. Unfortunately, drowning is very common in kids, unfortunately, and you just call the police, call the ambulance. There's many cases in which you can call the ambulance and you could resuscitate a child, or there's no resuscitation attempts either. It's just, none of it makes sense, and it makes me angry. Bays would say that Casey should have called 911. That's what she's guilty of. She's not guilty of murder. This is not a murder case. Shut the fuck up. And prosecutors offered a timeline of Casey's whereabouts based on cell phone records, and it stretched from the time Kaylee was last seen by her grandparents until Casey Anthony told her mother in mid-July 2008 that Kaylee had been missing for a month. And during the lengthy opening statement, Bays said George Anthony planted the duct tape matching the brand found over Kaylee's mouth in a way that would implicate Casey. He said George Anthony took certain steps to make sure he was as far away from the situation and that Casey would end up taking the blame for this. Shut up. And Casey was just emotional throughout this whole ordeal and crying and wiping her nose with a tissue. Very good actress, very good liar. Sorry, I know she's innocent until proven guilty, but it's just my opinion. Allegedly. I think she did it allegedly. Allegedly. But the prosecution, meanwhile, focused on Casey's various lies to both her parents and police, as well as mounting circumstantial evidence, including incriminating Google searches. And Jeff Ashton, one of the prosecutors, would say, and I already said, no one makes an accident look like a murder. Whew. Just gives me chills. Just makes so much sense, doesn't it? And then on July 5th, 2011, 7 women and 5 men prepared to hand the verdict to the bailiff. And Anthony, then 25, was breathing very heavily and blinking back tears, putting on the performance of a century. And by most accounts, the woman dubbed the most hated woman in America was facing a lengthy prison sentence, and the death penalty was still on the table. And then the court clerk began reading the verdict in the hushed courtroom, and mouths dropped as Anthony was acquitted of all serious charges against her.
As to the charge of first-degree murder, verdict as to count 1. We, the jury, find the defendant not guilty. As to the charge of aggravated child abuse, verdict as to count 2. We, the jury, find the defendant not guilty. As to the charge of aggravated manslaughter of a child, verdict as to count 3. We, the jury, find the defendant not guilty. As to the charge of providing false information to a law enforcement officer, verdict as to count 4. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of providing false information to a law enforcement officer as charged in the indictment. As to the charge of providing false information to a law enforcement officer, verdict as to count 5. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of providing false information to a law enforcement officer as charged in the indictment. As to the charge of providing false information to a law enforcement officer, verdict as to count 6. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of providing false information to a law enforcement officer as charged in the indictment. As to the charge of providing false information to a law enforcement officer, verdict as to count 7. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of providing false information to a law enforcement officer as charged in the indictment.
He was only convicted of 4 counts of providing false information to police, and he would sentence Casey to consecutively 1 year in county jail and $1,000 in fines each of the 4 counts of providing false information to law enforcement officers, which was the maximum penalty prescribed by the law, so $4,000 basically. But because Casey had been incarcerated since October of 2008, she received more than 1,000 days in time served credit, and she was released 10 days after sentencing. On July 17th, less than 2 weeks later, she would just walk free from jail. And the public would just be unanimously
A bunch of our
outraged.
kids
Just,
are adults now and we're able to
I
move
mean-
in with their partners. So
Everybody's
now
stressed
we
waiting on
can make
payday,
more
knowing that the bills don't wait. That's where Tilt comes in.
Yeah.
Tilt gives you access to up to $400
Okay.
instantly.
So now
no
we'll have
credit
more than
check,
6
no
children.
interest, and no late fees.
Hell yeah.
They've already extended over $1 billion.
Because it's a shame. The 6 children just isn't enough.
Just so you know
Oh, cool.
it's real. It's based on your income.
the judicial system failed, and I'm not going to say it didn't. I mean, allegedly, I think she did it. Allegedly, it seems as though, based off the evidence, I think she may have done it, but that's only alleged, And time has gone on. She kind of went into hiding after this whole thing, obviously facing a lot of public scrutiny. And then in March 2017, in her first public interview since the trial, Casey gave a series of interviews to the Associated Press about her case. And in these interviews, she discussed her acquittal, the death of her daughter Kaylee, and her life since the case.
I'm still not even certain as I stand here today about what happened. I don't
To your
know.
understanding, how did she die?
I don't know.
Something about drowning, possibly.
Everyone else has their theories. I don't know.
So your parents had her.
My dad did.
Next thing you know, she's
I-
missing. Right. How did it play?
I did what I was told. I don't remember too much of what happened.
And she would basically just go over and say she doesn't know how Kaylee's last hours unfolded. She understands why people have opinions about her. Good bitch. And she still dreads the supermarket checkout line. You should, bitch. And she's happy and enjoys investigative work. Good. And she doesn't care what others think of her. She's okay with herself and sleeps well at night, knowing that her daughter died, that she doesn't know why, but she still sleeps very soundly at night, not knowing how or why her daughter died, which is awesome to know.
I don't give a shit about what anybody thinks about me. I don't care about that. I never will. I'm okay with myself. I sleep pretty good at night.
And she didn't do what she was accused of. That's basically what she said in those interviews. So just bullshit, basically. And there's been multiple TV series, documentaries since. There's prosecuting Casey Anthony, Where the Truth Lies, Casey Anthony, An American Murder Mystery, The Case of Kaylee Anthony, Casey Anthony's Parents, Casey Anthony, How Did We Get Here? She was on the First 48. She's on Call Me Chris's YouTube channel. Congratulations, okay? I'm bringing you back into the spotlight, and it's red, bitch, okay? And that brings me into what we're really talking about today, and it's her big comeback. It's the utter audacity of this waste of oxygen coming onto a happy platform, and that is TikTok. Casey Anthony, aka America's Most Hated Mother, has launched a TikTok and a newsletter to reintroduce herself personally and professionally as a legal advocate. Go f yourself. And Anthony said in this TikTok recorded last week of me doing this now, recording this now, that she wanted to continue working as a legal advocate. She felt compelled to advocate for herself and for her daughter. What daughter? Yeah, I thought you slept really soundly at night knowing that she was murdered by an unknown person. That daughter? Right. Got it. And she said she believes it's important to use her platform this way after people close to her were recently targeted and attacked. What platform? You don't have a platform. The only platform you have is your throne of lies, bitch. I'm sorry, I'm getting really mad. But anyway, she goes on to say,
As a proponent for the LGBT community, for our legal community, women's rights, I feel that it's important that I use this platform that was thrust upon me and now look at as a blessing as opposed to the curse it has been since 2008.
she said, the curse being your daughter who died, who you maybe allegedly murdered. That one? Is that what we're talking about? Right, I keep forgetting. Where's what to do with? Okay.
Today is a Saturday, March 1st, 2025. This is my first of probably many recordings on a series that I'm starting. I am a legal advocate. I am a researcher. I I feel that it's necessary if I'm going to continue to operate appropriately as a legal advocate that I start to advocate for myself and also advocate for my daughter. For those of you who don't know, my name is Casey Anthony. My daughter is Kaylee Anthony. My parents are George and Cindy Anthony. This is not about them. This is not in response to anything that they have said or done. That's not to say that I'm not going to respond at some point to some of the things that they have said and done. The whole point of this is for me to begin to reintroduce myself. I'm doing this both personally for me, but in a professional capacity. Moving forward, the majority of what you will see will be me speaking in a professional capacity. My goal is to continue to help give a voice to people, to give people tools and resources that they can utilize so they actually know where they can turn to.
I got baby.
So with that, please join me on Substack. If you have questions, I will set up an email address where we can correspond directly. Up until this point, that has never happened, and it's only going to be on a limited basis regarding legal issues, legal matters. One of the main reasons that I'm doing this, there are people close to me who have been targeted and attacked recently. There are also people close to me who have had some recent things occur, and when necessary, people needed to step up, myself included. So, as a proponent for the LGBTQ community, for our legal community, women's rights, I feel that it's important that I use this platform that was thrust upon me and now look at it as a blessing as opposed to the curse that it has been since 2008. With that, these aren't going to be perfect. They're not going to be edited. Most of the time, they're not going to be short. But I am proverbially standing in the light, embracing this piece, still going to keep my privacy intact, so you will get very comfortable with my car, and I will explain in great detail why it's so important for people to protect their privacy. It's not just important to figures, it's even more important to private individuals, and with the current climate in our country especially, it's that much more important, which is why I am utilizing the Substack platform. Yes, I am advertising this and publishing this on TikTok, possibly also through other meta platforms, but my intention is to separate from that and
I'm expecting.
showcase even more why Substack is such
Ready for
an
baby
important
number
place for
7?
people to utilize it. Anyway, I appreciate your time, and we'll see how this goes.
Anthony would go on to say that she has worked in the legal field since 2011, though she did not say exactly to what capacity. At the now defunct news website, The Messenger reported in 2023 that Anthony was still working for McKenna and had also started a private investigation business. Investigate yourself, bitch. And Anthony directed viewers to her Substack, an online platform, and said she plans to set up an email address where people can correspond with her directly on a limited basis regarding legal issues. I'll make sure to email you about this weird case I heard about Kaylee Anthony. You know her? She's your dead daughter. You remember her? I keep forgetting about that. And she said she still plans to protect her privacy, will explain in great detail why doing so is important for public and private figures. Yeah, that amount of privacy is only necessary to you because you allegedly killed your daughter, and people are really mad about that. So maybe just crawl back into the hole you came from and leave TikTok. But anyway, she goes on to say, my goal is to continue to help give a voice to people, to give people tools and resources that they can utilize so they actually know where they can turn to. Would have been nice if you gave your daughter that ability. Gave her a voice, somewhere to turn to, instead of ditching her constantly and partying and leaving her with your mom and then not being able to take care of her and allegedly getting rid of her. Well, people are just as pissed as me. It didn't take very long for me to just get really opinionated, and I'm sorry, I'm not really sorry. Anyway, people are pissed. on TikTok, all right, about this whole thing. A lot of people are pissed.
Who is we exactly? Like, certainly not me. Like, they found her kid's corpse in the back of her car. I'm not apologizing to her.
But she also has followers. She has gained a lot of followers, and it's slightly concerning. But maybe it's just people that just want to follow along what the frick she is doing on a platform. I just... not a lot of things to say. Not a lot of nice things to say, so I'm not going to say them all. It's what my mom always told me. And my mom got me into this case. I remember when she literally was watching this case, and I was watching it with her as a little preteen, and she was just getting fired at. She was getting fired at. And so was I. I was like 12, and I was like, yeah, Mom, what you said. I'm going to make this my job. And I did, in an unprofessional way, but we're still here. But basically, the only positive thing about Casey Anthony is that she has single-handedly brought millions of people together who may not have ever agreed on one thing. And those people agree that Casey Anthony should maybe go back on trial. Allegedly, but I'm not saying anything. She's innocent. She is innocent until proven guilty, but right now she's innocent. So, I just want to cover my bases there and just say that, yeah, that's where we're at. You know, I'm not about spreading hate or anything like that. I say just ignore her existence. I think all she ever wanted was to be famous, and she got a little piece of that with this whole case, and now she's trying to abuse it by lying again, because she does that. She's a pathological liar. But yeah, that's all I have to say about that. If you like the video, and if you want to subscribe. This has been, and I will see you in the next one. All right. Goodbye. I love you. Goodbye. You're beautiful. Goodbye.
My husband is cheating.
And I'm obsessed with her.
On October 19th, 1970, a chilling encounter near Fairfax County, Virginia, would spark one of the most enduring legends in American history. Air Force Academy cadet Robert Bennett and his fiancée found themselves face to face with a figure that defied explanation. A man in a white suit adorned with long, bunny ears, wielding a hatchet. This bizarre incident marked the beginning of the Bunny Man legend, a tale that would grip the community with fear and fascinations for decades to come. As we unravel the events of that fateful autumn, we'll explore how a series of strange sightings transformed into a cultural phenomenon that continues to intrigue and perplex investigators to this day. Crime, conspiracy, cults, serial killers, and murder, all things that I love to consume, and I know you do too, you sick, twisted, little beautiful-minded little freak. And today we're getting into something really weird, and I'm excited, because I actually haven't heard much about the Bunny Man, and I don't know if you have, but we're going to get into it today, and take it seriously. It sounds a little ridiculous, but it's not. Okay, stay with me. And I myself have always been scared of the Easter Bunny, or just large anthropomorphic-looking animal human being hybrid things anyway. So this one terrified me a little extra, so I'm excited to get into it. So let's get into it. So like I said, it all started on October 19th, 1970 on Guinea Road in Fairfax County, Virginia, USA. An Air Force Academy cadet, Robert Bennett, and his fiancée had parked their car in a field, intending to visit relatives in the area. And as they sat in the vehicle with the engine running, their attention was suddenly drawn to movement outside their rear window. And what would transpire next would become one of the first documented encounters with a figure that would soon captivate the public's imagination and instill fear in the local community. Without warning, the front passenger window of Bennett's car would shatter, sending glass fragments cascading into the vehicle's interior. And a figure clad in white clothing materialized beside the car, brandished a wooden-handled hatchet. And the assailant, clearly agitated, shouted accusations at the couple, claiming they were trespassing on private property. And in a display of very bizarre behavior, the figure also declared that he had recorded their license plate number, implying potential consequences for their alleged transgression. And understandably shaken by the sudden and violent intrusion, Bennett wasted no time and fled the scene. So he quickly engaged the car's transmission and sped away from this mysterious attacker, leaving the field and the threatening figure behind him. And it was only after they had put some distance between themselves that the incident that Bennett made a chilling discovery. He saw the hatchet that was used to break his own window was actually in his car, which was a tangible reminder of the danger that he had narrowly escaped. And in the aftermath after the attack, Bennett and his fiancée reported the incident to local law enforcement. And during questioning, Bennett provided a description of the assailant that would soon become the subject of intense scrutiny and debate, because he insisted that the attacker was wearing a white suit, but most notably, he claimed the figure had sported long bunny ears. And this unusual detail would later contribute to the moniker that would be applied to this mysterious assailant. And Bennett's fiancée offered a conflicting account of the attacker's headwear, disputing the presence of bunny ears and instead describing a white, crown-like headpiece, which also... What? But the discrepancy highlighted the confusion and fear surrounding the encounter, making it very difficult for investigators to establish a clear narrative. But despite the darkness, both witnesses claimed they could clearly see the attacker's face. However, neither Bennett nor his fiancée could definitively identify the assailant's race, because it was dark, so fair enough. But this inability to recognize such a basic detail, despite a clear view, underscores how fear and confusion can distort perception and memory, which is very, very true. It's extremely hard to identify someone when you're going through that amount of fear and adrenaline. I know I would have trouble. I can't even remember what shirt Caitlin put on today. That's terrible. Actually, what does he even look like? On October 22nd, 1970, just days after the attack, the Washington Post published an article titled "Man in Bunny Suit Sought in Fairfax." Crazy headline. This piece detailed the assault and specifically mentioned the hatchet that had been thrown at the car window and landed inside the car, bringing the very bizarre encounter to the attention of a wider audience and the setting stage for a growing legend of the Bunny Man. It's like the clowns all over again. No. And law enforcement took the report seriously, aware of the danger posed by someone willing to act so violently. So they examined the hatchet that was left by the assailant, hoping it would provide clues to identify and catch the perpetrator. However, despite the hatchet and the detailed, though somewhat conflicting, eyewitness accounts from Bennett and his fiancée, the investigation faced obstacles. With no additional evidence and leads running dry, the case would be eventually marked as inactive due to the lack of proof for prosecution. And in the end, the hatchet was actually returned to Bennett, a grim reminder of his encounter with his unknown attacker, which is kind of weird. That's evidence. That's evidence. Why are we giving it back to the guy? It wasn't his hatchet. I don't understand that at all, but what do I know? But as the investigation into the initial Bunny Man sightings began to lose momentum, a second encounter would reignite public concern and challenge the authorities' understandings of the case. On October 29, 1970, just 10 days after the incident involving Robert Bennett and his fiancée, the Bunny Man made another appearance, a mere block away from the site of the first sighting on Guinea Road. Paul Phillips, a construction security guard, found himself face to face with an individual whose appearance bore an uncanny resemblance to the description that Bennett gave to authorities. Phillips reported encountering a man on a porch of an unfinished home, wearing a very distinctive gray, black, and white bunny costume. Why? I need to know the lore. And the guard estimated the figure to be a white male, approximately 20 years old, standing at around 5'8", and weighing about 160 pounds. And the costumed individual, the Bunny Man, was actively engaged in chopping at a porch post with a long-handled axe. This guy loves axes and hatchets. An action that echoed the weapon described in the earlier incident. And the situation quickly escalated when the figure addressed Phillips directly, issuing a very chilling threat. This just sounds like just a slapstick horror film that I wouldn't want to be in. Like, just terrifying. But according to Phillips' account, the man warned all you people trespass. Wait, I have to do a bunny voice. It's a bunny voice. Meh. All you people trespass around here. If you don't get out of here, I'm gonna bust you on the head. Sorry, the Bugs Bunny thing was right there. So Phillips, terrified, retreated to his vehicle immediately, intending to retrieve his handgun for self-defense. However, upon his return, turn, the bunny man had vanished into the nearby woods. You know, like bunnies do, leaving behind only questions and heightened sense of unease in the community. So the Fairfax County Police Department's investigation report confirmed the basic elements of the October 29th incident. Officers responded to a call about a subject dressed as a rabbit with an axe. To get 2 of those is crazy. But upon arrival at the scene, multiple units searched the area, but they found no physical evidence that the bunny man was ever present. And units 307, 195, 363, 422, 266, and 378 were all of the responding officers, with nothing to show for their efforts, leaving a large bunny at large. Like it actually said, large white rabbit at large. It's crazy. And the lack of tangible proof mirrored the challenges faced in the investigation of the Bennett incident, further complicating efforts to identify or apprehend this individual. And the proximity of the 2 sightings, both in terms of location and timing, suggested a pattern in behavior that was impossible to ignore. And the Kings Park West encounter occurred just 1 block away from the Giddy Road site, indicating that the bunny man, whoever that might be, was operating in a specific geographical area. And this realization just intensified the public's concern and led to increased security measures in the vicinity. So as news as the second sighting spread, the community's fear and fascination with the bunny man phenomenon just intensified. And the incident would just capture the public's imagination, sparking widespread speculation and concern. Local residents found themselves grappling with the unsettling possibility that a potentially dangerous individual was at large in the neighborhood, a potentially large bunny at large, if you will. An individual who was disguised in a costume that seemed more suited as a children's party than a crime scene. So in the aftermath of the 2 confirmed bunny man encounters, a wave of panic swept through Fairfax County, Virginia. And the local community, already on edge from the initial incidents, found itself grappling with a phenomenon that defied easy explanation. And as Halloween approached, oh god, the atmosphere of fear intensified, leading to significant disruptions in daily life. This literally reads like a cheesy horror movie. I can't. So the Fairfax County Police Department faced unprecedented challenge as reports of the bunny man sightings flooded into their offices. And in the weeks following the Bennett and Phillips incidents, over 50 individuals contacted law enforcement claiming to have seen the mysterious figure. And these reports varied widely in their details, with some accounts veering into the realm of fantastical. Some people just want to touch it, you know. One report came from a guard who was watching a housing development that was under construction. And while on patrol, the guard claimed to see a man in a white bunny suit hacking down a porch post with a hatchet, very similar to Phillips. And walking closer to the bunny, he said, "You are oh wait, I gotta do my bunny voice. Man, you're trespassing. If you come any closer, I'll chop your head." Same similar thing he said to Phillips. And after this interaction, the man in the suit hopped into the woods. I'm trying to imagine in my head if I would laugh or if I would be terrified. I think I'd be terrified, but then, you know, really good story if you go home and you're just like, guess what I saw? And local newspapers, including the Washington Post, played a key role in fueling public interest and concern. They're fueling the fire, if you will, with frequent articles detailing the sightings that kept the community informed, but also heightened fear and uncertainty. Meanwhile, law enforcement faced significant challenges in investigating the bunny man sightings. Officers would struggle to verify the growing number of reports and separate fact from fiction, all while lacking any physical evidence beyond the hatchet from the first incident. And as sightings increased, the case grew more and more complex, stretching the resources of the Fairfax County Police Department. Can you imagine putting all of your man hours into finding a giant bunny with an axe? But the impact of the bunny man phenomenon on the local community was a profound and far-reaching. And as Halloween approached, I just can't get over how this sounds like a freaking horror movie. Parents in Fairfax County expressed heightened concern for their children's safety. Don't let them trick or treat. Just don't let them trick. Go to your local Walmart, get some candy, bring it home. Stay inside your house. Why would you risk that? There is a large bunny man with a hatchet hopping around your neighborhood. And the typically festive holiday season took on a sinister tone. Fair enough. With families grappling with the decision of whether to allow their children to participate in traditional activities. Don't. The psychological toll on the community became increasingly evident as the days passed. I mean, like, if I was a parent, I would, just drive. just somewhere else at this point. You know, another headline, doctors say Bunnyman's mind is hopping. The press is just having a field day with this guy. The Bunnyman scare had a very noticeable impact on local schools, with a rise in absenteeism as worried families kept their children home.
A win is a win. Oh, I know. A win is a win. I don't care what you say. A win is a win.
Yes, because you know all those kids were walking to school uphill in snow and back to their home uphill in snow because it was 1970 when all of our parents did that. And this understandable precaution disrupted the educational process and highlighted how deeply the phenomenon had affected daily life in Fairfax. And despite dedicated law efforts, law enforcement struggled to make progress. And the Fairfax County Police Department invested significant resources into finding the suspects matching the Bunny Man's description. But the figure's elusive nature and the lack of consistent physical evidence just proved to be extremely challenging. And I love this in an article. It says, within days, school children like 11-year-old Jim Waters, which sounds like a 50-year-old man who has 2 ex-wives, were petrified to bike to school. Jim Waters, the 11-year-old, said,
The story went from a guy in a white bunny suit with an axe who vandalized a couple of times to an axe-murderer at the end of Giddy Road. He says, as an 11-year-old, I couldn't give it any perspective.
Are you telling me an 11-year-old said those words? And William L. Johnson, an investigator with the Fairfax County Police Department, summarized the challenges faced by law enforcement in a report. And he noted, quote unquote, after an extensive investigation, it remained substantiated whether there is real black rabbit, as most sightings were reported by children and lacked credible evidence. And this statement encapsulated the frustration experienced by investigators as they attempted to unravel the mystery of the Bunnyman. And the psychological impact on the community extended beyond the immediate fear of encountering the Bunnyman. Children expressed reluctance to engage in everyday activities, such as biking to school, while parents voiced ongoing concerns about safety. And these reactions just reflected a broader societal anxiety generated by the Bunnyman legend, highlighting the power of fear to reshape communities' dynamics and individual behaviors. And urban legends, as we know, need a home, a physical place that can ground the myth into something tangible. Without a location, a ghost story is just words. And without a setting, a urban legend fades away. And that's how the legend of the Bunnyman found its way to Fairfax Station's Colchester Overpass, better known as the Bunnyman Bridge, which I now really want to go to. If this video gets to 200,000 likes, I will go to the Bunnyman Bridge and summon the Bunnyman. Yes, I will. But here's the thing. Nothing in the 1970s Bunnyman sightings has anything to do with this particular bridge. The original reports were about a bunny in a suit terrorizing people with an axe. Casual Tuesday. But Colchester Overpass, that was never mentioned. If you were listening, are you listening? So how did it become the landmark of the legend? Like all good urban myths, the bridge was chosen for one simple reason. It looks haunted, basically. A single-lane, century-old railway tunnel in the woods? That's the perfect backdrop for a horror story, is it not? And by the 1980s and 1990s, local teens had already connected the Erie Bridge to the Bunnyman tale, twisting the story into something new. And suddenly, the Bunnyman wasn't just some deranged guy in a costume. He was a vengeful spirit, the ghost of an escaped mental patient, or a supernatural entity that only appeared on Halloween night. And the story says, at the stroke of midnight on Halloween, a killer in a white rabbit suit awaits. Lore has it, if you speak his name 3 times, he'll appear. Bunnyman, Bunnyman, Bunnyman. But don't expect to survive. He'll slash your throat and leave your body dangling from the bridge. Don't have to ask me twice. This is where superstition comes into play. Legends thrive in places that feel cursed, and Colchester Overpass had all the right ingredients. It was remote, isolated, and shrouded in the shadow of night. And local kids started daring each other to visit after dark. Some shit I would do as a teenager. Some shit I do now. Some swore they heard whispers in the tunnel, and others claimed to see figures in trees. And the Bunnyman went from a bizarre news story to a full-fledged ghost story, feeding off the natural fear of the unknown. And is the true, real power of folklore. The truth. It's messy, fragmented, and easily lost, but the legend sticks. And as long as the Bunnyman Bridge stands, so will the superstition that keeps his story alive. It's almost like a placebo effect, but for hauntings. It's like Bigfoot or like Mothman. I don't know, but what's cool? Not what's cool. What's interesting is that the Bunnyman was actually real. There was a guy in a bunny suit with a fucking axe terrorizing people in Fairfax County, Virginia. We don't even know how many times, or if he did anything really bad. I mean, as far as we know, he was just a shit-talking tall rabbit who liked to vandalize empty properties, I guess. Not that scary if you think about it, but still a little scary. But as for the real Bunnyman sightings, despite extensive investigations, the true identity and motivations of the Bunnyman remain a mystery. And recent studies suggest the perpetrator may have been a local resident disturbed by the rapid suburban development transforming Fairfax County in the 1970s, which makes sense. I mean, this guy's just saying he's gonna chop the heads off of people that are moving in, and that people are trespassing on private property that isn't private property. It's kind of a good tactic. I mean, he literally made all these people like not want to leave their houses and maybe even move because he was terrorizing this county. I just imagine this guy as like an old 80-year-old man. He's just like, what if I?
Introducing Moonbrew, the once daily magnesium sleep aid that's designed to help you fall asleep, stay asleep.
Dress up in a bunny suit with an axe and chop wood and yell at people. That will work just nicely. But the case, in and of itself, highlights the challenges law enforcement face when confronted with incidents that capture public's imagination and generate widespread speculation. But the Bunnyman case remains officially closed due to lack of evidence, and modern forensic techniques have not been applied. However, the enduring intrigue surrounding these events has sparked ongoing discussions and investigations by local historians and enthusiasts. The legacy of the Bunnyman continues to influence local culture, particularly on Halloween, demonstrating the lasting impact of unresolved mysteries on community folklore. So the real question is, should I or should I not go to Fairfax, Virginia, get into a bunny costume and do a full-on ghost investigation in the middle of the night, potentially on Halloween, but probably sooner, to see if the Bunnyman or any other entities are really haunting that forest? Let me know down in the comments below if you want to see that. But until then, I will see your beautiful face in the next video. I hope you enjoyed this type of video. I know it's a little bit different than my other true crime ones. It's a conspiracy one. It's a fun entity conspiracy one. I like these kinds of things. They're fun. It's very interesting, the whole, public panic, how everything can amount to such just widespread hysteria. It's just wild. It's all very interesting. And I mean, I really want to talk to this guy. I mean, it was the 1970s. If he actually was in his 20s, he's around. So hey, Bunnyman, if you're out there, I would love to interview you. I will meet you under the bridge on Halloween night 2025. I will also be in a bunny costume. I'm scared now. Wait, I'm scared. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video. Alright? Bye! Stay safe. Stay safe. Alright. Nice and cozy. Oh, are you cold? Let me make a fire for you. 1 second. There you go. There you go, you sweet little baby. Today, despite how I'm dressed really happy and like it's Easter, but we're going to be talking about really creepy stories. I found a Reddit thread called r/creepy encounters, and I'm nervous! Little trigger warning, I haven't read any of these, I haven't read the titles, so I believe some of them might have to do with stalking, being made uncomfortable by other people, so just trigger warning there. If you don't want to listen to that, you can absolutely skip this video. But without further ado, let's get into it. I think a coworker is stalking me. It started with small talk, and now I see him outside my dance studio. This is terrible. Okay. I work in a male-dominated tech firm, mostly multinational. For the first few months, I kept to myself. I didn't even learn most of their names. I used the language barrier as a shield, but the truth is, I just don't like socializing at work, especially not with men. I'm there to work, focus, and go home. Since April, something has been escalating with a coworker, and it's now following me outside of work. I've tried to downplay it, but my anxiety is killing me. One guy started small talk with me, said he wanted to practice English. I was polite, gave short answers. He asked basic things like my favorite food. I said I like pancakes and burgers. A few days later, he came back and said another coworker wanted to take me to a pancake shop. I said no. As you should, that's totally fine. Then the second guy started talking to me directly. He's only working with us for 6 months, but because of this role, he's basically my senior. He's tall, broad-shouldered, over a head taller than me. He moves slowly, watches before speaking, and always carries himself like he's in control. Sounds like Patrick Bateman to me. Whenever he asks me to do something, he says, "See? Good girl." Is this 50 Shades of Grey? What's happening right now? Okay. Then he started asking personal questions. Where I eat, who I eat with, if I go alone, if it's with a man. I gave vague answers. Eventually, I said I have a boyfriend just to try and make it stop, even though I don't have one. Man, I've had to do that before too. This is getting creepy, okay? That's when he said, if you really have a boyfriend, prove it, call him now. You. I had no one to call. Then came the comments. You're so tiny. You should sit on me. I could lift you like nothing. He said these things like they were jokes. He always said, sorry, maybe that sounds different in Russian. Okay. Then came the worst moment so far. There are 2 other women in our office. One afternoon, while we were all in the same area, he pointed at me and said, this one's my favorite body type.
Don't just take classes, take charge. Start your comeback today at PurdueGlobal.edu.
This is LP Smart Side Siding. Wood siding with a degree in engineering. Siding designed to make your dream home dreams come true. It looks like wood, feels like wood, but lasts like crazy. That's
what a fucking asshole. Then he made a quick thrusting motion with his hips. Some of the men laughed, not nervously, just like it was a good joke. And the woman went silent. Oh my gosh, this is so uncomfy. Then it escalated. After work, I was alone on the platform, waiting for the train. He walked up to me and placed one hand around my waist, low, across my stomach. It wasn't a brush, it was a hold. He leaned in and said, see? So tiny. That's assault. He's not allowed to do that. I was infuriated and said, what the fuck? Don't ever touch me again. He smirked, shrugged, and walked away like it was nothing. 2 days later, I got a follow request on Instagram from him. My account is private. The username isn't connected to my real name. It's my scrolling account with nothing on it. I don't know how he found it. Oh, it's so creepy. I also started seeing him outside of my dance studio, at the smoothie shop I go to, and near the bus station I use when I go shopping after class. Multiple days a week, he walked around that area, but mostly across the entrance of my studio. He never said anything. He just stood there and waved, like it was normal, like we were friends. We're not. There was no reason he should be there. The studio is 30 minutes away from our office. I've never posted about it, never mentioned it. No one at work even knows I dance. It's not a place you just happen to be. But somehow he keeps showing up. When I brought it up, he acted like I'm the one being strange. What the fuck? Last Friday, I passed near the side exit of the office. I didn't say anything. I kept walking, and he said, you can ignore me now, but we'll talk soon. Ew, dude, well, no. He didn't wait for a reaction. He just kept walking. But it gave me chills, and I was so creeped out. What does that even mean? I need advice, or maybe just someone to say I'm not overreacting. I haven't reported him. I'm scared I won't be taken seriously, but I've started writing everything down, every comment, every time I've seen him, every place he's showed up. It's all happening so fast, and I feel sick with dread. I don't know what to do. I just need to say it somewhere. I'm so sorry. This is terrifying. I mean, I would report it, you know. I don't think there's any harm in it. I mean, he touched you without you are like with no permission, so that's, you know, something in and of itself. If not HR, which you should absolutely report to HR whether you think something's going to happen or not, then, and I know it might not be feasible, but like if the HR thing doesn't work out and he doesn't get fired or something, then like leaving your job might be the way to go. And before leaving your job though, I would report to the police. Like I would do all those things. I mean, I go to HR and the police at this point because you have the right, because you feel like you are being stalked. And you have evidence of it. It's scary. Let's see what people said. If you spoke to HR, based on what you said, that should be the end of him. Absolutely.
Baby girl.
This, document time and dates, what he says, who was there, videotape him, when he is near your home or dance studio. Very smart, totally. And try to video record him even at work. Check with lawyer. Get cameras and more door locks. Send HR emails so they have a record, and go to the police now and tell them everything. Yeah, that's what I think too. I think you have every right to go to the police. Honestly, this is how people get murdered. You need to report him to HR, file for a restraining order. Even if you can't afford it, you need to get away from him and you will need to leave your job. Yeah, I know it sounds like really harsh, but I like report him to HR. I would leave the job and then also report it to police. I would agree with you. OP, please. This sounds dangerous. Go to the police. I'm not sure how it works in Russia, but this is disturbing behavior. Is there any update on this? It was only 5 days ago. Jeez. Okay, well, I hope this person is okay, but yeah, just don't wait. Go to the police. You know, your safety is the utmost importance. Oh, goodness. Next up. I think I might have encountered some sort of killer. Oh my gosh, okay. Okay. I recently went on a date with a guy from my school who I met on a dating app. He seemed super sweet and charming over text, so I agreed to go on a date with him, especially after 2 friends told me they knew him from a class where he was generally a funny guy. We go to a small, pretty prestigious university, which also made me sure that he would be normal. He was supposed to meet me at 6 to go on a picnic, but ended up picking me up at 8:30. He texted me to reschedule to 8 and ended up showing up at that time. He drove me to his apartment, and although uncomfortable, I agreed to go in because of everything I already knew about him. Not a first date thing to do, but okay. The apartment was only lit with 1 candle and a small glowing light on the floor, which didn't add much. What the fuck is this guy living in the 1800s? What's happening? It was a multiple bedroom apartment where he lived alone, which made it even more odd. Just walk the other way. Okay. We talked and ate some food, and he seemed nervous and uneasy for most of it. He suddenly switched the conversation to our deepest, darkest secrets and asked if I'd ever seriously thought about killing anyone. Okay, get out. After I said no, he made up a story about being in the Navy and having to bomb a ship and killing 5 people. When I was unsure how to respond, he sort of just passed it off as a joke and said that he had seriously thought about killing someone else, his ex's current boyfriend. Okay, this is just like, there was already 12 red flags up for me with the candle and the weird light on the ground, but now there's like, it's times 2. I was extremely uncomfortable at this point and wanted to leave, and he agreed to drive me home. Get a taxi, oh god. Before we left, he said he wanted to show something to me and pulled out a rifle that he pointed in my direction. When I got startled, he reminded eerily calm and said he got it from hunting, but couldn't think of even killing an animal. We left, and I got back to my friend's place safely. Thank God. Everyone I've told has been flabbergasted about how the date went, and I can't shake the feeling that something was off about him, and it's creeping me out. And to clarify, I mean like something more sinister about him. Any thoughts on this would be appreciated. Yeah, he's disturbed. Absolutely disturbed. I mean, he's saying that he wants to kill his ex's current boyfriend. So first of all, not over the ex. So there's that red flag. But the other one is that, he wants to murder him. Oh my gosh. I'm just glad you got out of there. Okay. Just never see him again. Never talk to him again. Tell everyone you know about this so nobody has to spend any time with him. So scary. What do people say? Please learn about keeping yourself safe on early dates. Always public places. Yes. Going back to the place was wild. Letting someone know all your plans, have a way to get there and back that doesn't depend on him. Don't let them know your address. Very good advice. Incredibly good advice. All those things. Absolutely. Jeez. And never get in their car. Yeah, God. Jesus. Definitely tell the campus police. Yeah, especially with the gun. Oh, the fact that he pointed a gun at you, even if possibly unloaded or just, is even enough cause to report him. Oh, I'm getting chills. Be safe out there. That's also why I kind of wanted to do this, because it's just like another, hey, be really safe out there, okay? Not everybody's nice. I found out my neighbor was living in my attic for months.
Ever been stressed waiting on payday, knowing that the bills don't wait? That's where Till comes in. Till gives you access to up to $400 instantly.
No, dude. No. Okay, so I guess the wildest thing I've ever experienced happened last year, and I still don't know how to explain it without sounding like I'm making it up, but here it goes. It started with these little things going missing. I live alone, in a pretty quiet neighborhood, so I figured I was just forgetful. A protein bar here, a sock there, whatever. Then my TV would be on a different input than I left it. Nothing huge, just enough to make me second guess myself. I would never know. Dude, I ADHD, I would leave stuff I don't know what I had for breakfast this morning. The weirdest part, I hear these faint bumps in the ceiling sometimes. I chalk it up to raccoons or whatever. My house is old. Stuff creaks. But then one night, I came home late from work, and I could swear I saw a shadow move past the vent opening in the hallway ceiling.
Oh my god! Kill it with fire! No!
That's terrible. Tell the police. I told myself I was tired. Oh no. Imagination? But I couldn't shake the feeling, so I set up one of those cheap motion sensor cameras I bought off Amazon. Okay, well that's good at least. Pointed it straight at the attic access panel in the hallway. 2 nights later, oh god, I got a notification at 2:17 a.m. Motion detected.
Oh my god!
I opened the clip, and my stomach dropped. There was a person climbing down from the attic, like full on, quietly stepping down the ladder, looking around, and heading into my kitchen. I froze. I was in the house at the time that clip was taken. I have full body chills right now. This is so scary. This reminds me of the video I actually just did on my main channel. This video, go watch it if you want to hear a story, another real story like this. It's just as horrifying, if not more horrifying. I called the cops immediately, locked myself in my room with a bat, freaking out while they did a full sweep. Oh my god. That is so it's my worst nightmare. They found no one at first, but when they checked the attic, there was a little setup up there. A sleeping bag, some snacks, a small camping stove, empty water bottles. Someone had clearly been living up there. Oh my god. The person was my neighbor's grown son, who apparently had some drug issues and got kicked out a while back. He broke in when I was on vacation a few months earlier and just never left. He'd sneak down at night to grab food or watch TV. He got arrested. I moved out 3 weeks later. Yeah, absolutely. I still have trouble sleeping in total silence because now every creak makes me think someone's crawling around above me. This is so scary. I'm so sorry. That is horrifying. Just to have somebody in your space, a space where you're supposed to feel like the most safe, like stealing your stuff and just violating you and your space. Oh, that's so awful. Comment said, in the 80s, my friend's neighbor was convinced someone was living in her attic. She had the police out. They stuck their head up there with a flashlight and gave it the all clear. She called police 2 days later, stating there was definite footsteps. Please come. Police told her family she was imagining it. What? The family disagreed as they heard it too, and the police did the same attic peek and left. 2 days after that, the woman was dead. Finally, the police went in the attic and found the guy and his camp set up in her attic. He stabbed her with her own kitchen knife. It was terrible and could have been avoided. In the 80s, someone living in your attic was unheard of. Today, not so much, but it's a serious thing. So, check your attics. Okay, I'll read one more. Am I reading too much into this? Probably like 20 minutes ago, my apartment building fire alarm went off. I gathered my cat and my purse and headed out the door. Right outside my door was a young man walking into the building with a DoorDash bag / sleeve, like those pizza thermal sleeves that Domino's delivers with. He tries to stop me as I'm leaving my apartment, and I said, I didn't order DoorDash. Okay. He's holding the DoorDash bag weird, like he's about to unzip it or something. Maybe I'm paranoid. He motions me to follow him. I tell him if he wants to tell me something, he's got to come outside because I'm not staying in the middle of those blasting alarms. My poor cat sighed. He keeps trying to motion me and say I set the alarm off. Oh, I don't like this. I just got chills again. I immediately leave the apartment building and walk out to the parking lot. He's still following me and trying to get me to follow him inside the building. A police car has already shown up. Usually one sits around our apartment complex at this time of night. Thank God. So I go and tell the police officer about what I just encountered. He goes to investigate and look for him, but he can't find him. He's not anywhere in the entire crowd that evacuated the building. What could it possibly have been? Am I paranoid? I've been in the scenario where someone tried to lure me and act cool about it, ending up being assaulted. I understand that was dumb on my part. I was very young and had no clue how evil the world could be. This just kind of reminded me of that. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Jeez. I'm worried he knows where my apartment is. I got inside after everything was cleared and inspected my entire house twice. I'm paranoid. What could that have been all about? Something nefarious. Absolutely. That is so sketchy and weird. And, like, the way he's going about talking to you and, like, trying to coerce you somewhere, I'm so glad you followed your instincts. And I thank God that there was a police officer there as well. But I would definitely go back to the police and ask for, like, them to look at camera footage, say that you're worried that it could be a stalking situation. I would just escalate it more because this is really, really scary. People said, definitely not overthinking it. There were a lot of red flags that you picked up on. His story kept changing. First, it's a delivery attempt, then when it didn't work, he switches to trying to get you to help with the alarm. Yeah, very strange. Also, why did he set the alarm? It's like a distraction thing. The reason why that encounter bothered you is because nothing he did made any sense. Absolutely. That sounds so scary. Does your building have CCTV? Exactly. That's what I'm thinking too. No, that's definitely weird. If I were you, I would get a doorbell camera and mount it right outside your door to your apartment. That way it will alert you for every person walking by, and if you see this guy, you can keep tabs on how often he's coming by your place or if he's watching you. Oh my gosh. So true though. Thank God for cameras, man. Hate to say it, but this creep sounded like he was claiming he was from DoorDash simply to get you alone with him. Yeah, which who the f- going alone with somebody from DoorDash? You did the right thing by listening to your gut and getting away from him ASAP. No, you're not reading Jack.
I'm trying to add an extension onto the house and I can't figure out how to fucking do it.
It's even more disturbing and weirder. Yeah, it's weird. It's like a distraction attempt or something. I think he was trying to get to you or any other woman he ran into for his own nefarious reasons. He had to like get everybody out of their houses or like their apartments. And obviously he pulled the alarm to try to get in the building during all the confusion. Jeez. Good thing you reported him to the police and had them investigate and place for this dude because he was clearly sneaking into your place and trying to lure you into being alone with him. So frickin' scary, dude. So frickin' scary. Gosh, I'm so glad like you got the instincts though. That is so good. Anyway, these were terrifying. Like actually I didn't realize how scary these would be. So I hope y'all are okay. Let me know what other subreddits that you want me to read. Some of you guys suggested this one, so that's why I read it. And again, just stay visually though.
Hi.
Hi.
You matter, and I just want you to be safe. All right, okay. Well,
Do you love
that's
me?
all for today.
Yeah.
Even if I really like playing Sims?
Okay. Bye.
Why would that make me not love you?
Because I'll rot away in my chair all day and let my
Like me?
eyes...
I rot away in my chair.
Not as bad as me.
I disagree. Spider-Man.
72-hour whole body odor protection with just 6 clean ingredients. Check this out. Native feels dry to...
When I was a young girl, 12, 15 years old, I was really mad at my older sister one day, so I took her toothbrush and stuck it in the toilet. The toilet was clean as a toilet can be, but I proceeded to put her toothbrush back on the counter and just reveled in the fact that she was brushing her teeth with a toilet toothbrush for weeks, only to find out that I had actually been using said toothbrush for weeks. She had switched her toothbrush to another toothbrush because we had 2 of the same toothbrushes. Anyway, turns out I was using the toilet toothbrush, and that's karma. That's karma, people. Alright, so today, if you couldn't guess, we're reading people's confessions. I love reading these because it doesn't necessarily force me to give people advice necessarily, although I probably will anyway, but it makes you feel good about yourself. Everybody's up to some shady little shit. I know you are. Alright, first up, we have, I faked liking hiking and now I'm deep in the woods. Literally and emotionally. Oh no. And yeah, I've been pretending to love hiking for years, and now I'm in way too deep. You know what, I can dig your commitment, honestly. It started as a lie to impress a guy, and now I'm halfway to becoming Bear Grylls against my will. That's great. So a few years ago, I started dating this guy who was all about adventure and living life to the fullest. Read, he owned a Patagonia jacket and had a carabiner for some reason. On our 3rd date, he asked if I liked hiking. I wanted him to like me, so I said, oh my god, I love hiking. Nature is my therapy. Huge mistake. I'd honestly probably do the same thing about it. Did I ever tell Caleb something like that? I don't think so, not to this point, no. There's like some music where I'm like, oh my god, yeah, I love like this, certain folk, country, Irish, certain music. I'm the biggest fan, and then I had to manically listen to a lot of it. We went on a hike that weekend. It was 6 hours long. That's advanced. My legs legs almost gave out halfway up the trail, and I got bitten by a spider that may or may not have been poisonous. But I smiled through the pain and said things like, "Wow, look at that view," while secretly trying not to cry. Now, it's 3 years later. We're still dating. I've become the hiking girl to all his friends, and people message me for trail recommendations. I've received gifts of hiking socks. I own a water bottle that says, "Take a hike," unironically. I love this so much. Honestly, you're probably like fit as fuck though, because hiking, man, you're just walking, but you're going on an incline. That'll get you fit. The worst part, hiking, I hate bugs, I hate sweating, I hate being more than 10 minutes away from a bathroom. Fair enough, queen. But I've committed so hard that I now lead monthly groups hikes for his coworkers. Lead monthly group hikes for his coworkers. Again, the commitment is... I have a Google spreadsheet for upcoming summits.
I don't think so.
I once pretended to love you so much I cried. It was just the altitude and dehydration. Now he wants to do the Inca Trail for our anniversary, and I'm Googling how to fake a knee injury convincingly. Please send help. Dude, I want to do the Inca Trail so bad. That's in South America. That's really
I
really
can't
cool.
help
Also,
it.
I'm so sorry. But also, you dug your own grave. There was like a point, maybe
Yeah,
on
you're
like
just
the
a
third
girl.
or fourth hike where you kind of just said, you know
can't
what,
be expected to know
you're
your own
awesome
self-worth.
and I really love you. And honestly, I don't love hiking as much as I made it out to be. But, you know, once in a while I would love to go on hikes with you, but it's just not my thing. That needed to come out really early, or just at the start. You know, that's probably your best bet. It could have saved you so much time. But again, your heart health is probably through the roof, which is great, like in a good way. Find a new obsession and give hiking the slow fade. That's a good idea as well. It needs to take up the same amount of time, though, so you can miss one activity in favor of the other. Say hiking has become boring and now you're into mountain climbing. Much easier. Much easier. Incoming, am I the asshole for breaking up with my girlfriend of 3 years? She just told me she hates hiking, but pretended to love it for the past 3 years, organized trips for my friends, coworkers, and everything, told me it was her therapy. Oh my god, that's so true. And it is. It's just like, wow, she went that deep. She just kept digging. Plantar fasciitis. Your doctor has told you to not hike for 6.
Everyone's out here with their little 20-watt chargers, but this bad boy, it's got 120 watts. Yeah, you heard me. 120. It's an absolute beast. Comes with
Y'all are diabolical on Reddit. Sorry, I almost died laughing at the story. Your description was so vivid. It was like watching a movie. Yeah. Be honest. Or, at this point, you know, if you're not going to be honest, which I recommend you do, yeah, I would get some sort of new hobby and just be like, you know what, I'm really into this now. And I'm just kind of like, not feeling hiking anymore. Because that's honest, technically, because you really aren't feeling hiking anymore. But what do you think in the comments? Let me know. Let's move on. I've intentionally not cleaned our house for the past year. Damn! That's a long time. Okay. My husband claims to be a germaphobe, but lives like a slob. It's going to get dicey and spicy out there. We separated, but never officially divorced in 2020. I truly loved living alone with my pets, but I'm admittedly not the best housekeeper. Laundry is always piled up, and the dishes don't get washed until I can actually fill the dishwasher. I don't sweep, mop as often as I should, but will make a generous effort if expecting company. Honestly, that just sounds pretty normal to me, honestly. When I was living alone, I was probably like pretty much the same. So back in 2022, we reconnected and rekindled our relationship and decided to move back in together. His OCD, which I have recently learned to call it, is extremely frustrating. He must wash or sanitize his hands after touching anything that's been on the floor, money, his wallet, etc. I am required to do the same. Any piece of clothing that has been worn outside of the bedroom, i.e. his safe space, even if only for an hour, has to go immediately into the laundry. He hasn't had a legit job in over a year, some under-the-table work for a while, started 2 different server jobs, and was fired within a few weeks. I worked full-time and paid at least 90% of the bills. This was still the case before we split. So for the past year, I decided that if he is going to be a SAHH, I'm not going to do the housework. Guys, our house is disgraceful, and I'd be mortified if anyone came to visit. The floor hasn't been cleaned in months. The garbage is overflowing before it gets taken out. Last week, we got a notice in the mail about our unkempt lawn. I cave in and clean the bathroom when he leaves skid marks in the toilet, ew, or when the sink or shower starts looking gross, but I legitimately can't tell if he just doesn't notice these things, doesn't care, or just knows that eventually I'll take care of them so he won't have to. Interesting. Oh, yeah. This just sounds so unhealthy. Like, you don't delete this relationship. What? You guys shouldn't be together. Like, you were right in 2020 to split up, because this is clearly an unhealthy relationship. Like, I understand the OCD part of his things. Some people have that, and you need to be able to, you know, compromise and be okay with that if that's the way that he wants to live. But him basically using weaponized incompetency, because that's what he's doing, just being like, I'm not going to clean up because I know she will, which I think that's what it is. Somebody got mad at me because I used that term wrong in the last video, which I don't know. One person's compromising more than the other, but then you're also like doing this weird thing where it's like, who's going to give in first, and that is so unhealthy in a relationship. This is bad. Leave each other, basically. Girl, he ain't it. Yep, pretty much. This sounds like some passive weaponized incompetence. Okay, yes, we got it right. Dude knows he's living in a shithole, but doesn't care to do anything he doesn't do anything about it because he knows you eventually will. Exactly. I don't know, after a year, I doubt he expects she will clean. Sounds like the dude's mentally ill and has failed to adapt professionally or domestically, resulting in her being understandably frustrated. I'm not really sure there's a bad guy to be angry at here. I mean, that's fair too. Like, clearly, he has like some sort of OCD with like having a safe space and needing to sanitize and not letting you wear clothes outside after dark, you know, all that kind of stuff. And maybe he's just okay, and maybe he's depressed, maybe he's okay with living in, you know, a dirtier space, which I understand as well. I've been in those situations for a year, but that's fair as well. I just think that this relationship isn't healthy and that he probably needs to go get help and you probably need to go back to living with your pets, I think. Ooh, I like this. His mental health isn't his fault, but it is his responsibility. True that. You know, you can't necessarily, I mean, of course it can be an excuse for some things, but you don't want to make it your entire being, hopefully, which it's hard not to when you're in it. But yeah, he needs to take care of that because it's just not a life. You guys aren't living a life, you know. Remember when you split from him and were happier? Yeah, that was a good call. Do that again. Yeah, pretty much that's what I said. So I think that's a pretty open, closed and shut case, but let me know what you think down in the comments below. Let's move on. I broke my left arm on purpose, and it did the job. What? Okay. When I was 12, I broke my arm/wrist intentionally by falling on the stairs at school. I'd been really dizzy and having a lot of headaches, and I was fairly sure I needed glasses, but my mom wouldn't listen or take me to the eye doctor for some reason. I had broken my right wrist already, so I knew what it felt like, and I knew if I was more severely injured, they'd be forced to address the situation. Oh, what a terrible situation. I knew I needed to do it at school when there were cameras and witnesses, and no one could accuse my parents of anything sinister. So I waited for a day when I knew one of my teachers would let me leave mid-class to go to a different floor. I threw myself up the stairs, tore a bunch of cartilage in my elbow. Oh, it shattered my growth plate in my wrist. Oh, you rude. You chucked yourself. Holy shit. And got an eye doctor appointment. Oh my god. I see. Sorry, I was confused. I was already an injury-prone kid, ADHD, special awareness for the win. This did not get massively better, unfortunately, LMAO, so no one questioned it. I hated my glasses, think aggressively unsexy librarian, but I needed them, and as much as I regret the lengths I went to, I'm glad I got them finally. That's actually just so sad that you couldn't see properly. Taking a doctor? I'm so sorry. Like, for that to be a thought that comes across a child's mind, to be honest, I tried to do a really similar thing. I think I talked about this on Selena Spooky Boo's and I's podcast, Can't Sleep. If you don't know Can't Sleep, you can go check it out right there. We talk about random shit in the ghost hunt. But I wanted to break a couple of my fingers so I didn't have to play basketball anymore because I hated basketball. My parents said, you can't quit basketball, you can't quit things. But anyway, I didn't do it. I just like bruised them really bad because I tried to slam them in a door. I was actually asked my sister to, but she wouldn't do it. Anyway, and you gotta take care of your kid. You don't have kids if you're not gonna take care of them and take their, you know, feelings into consideration or their sight into consideration. Like, don't have a kid if you're gonna be that neglectful. I'm really sorry your mom failed you like that. No kid should ever feel the need to injure themselves just to be heard about their needs. Absolutely. I didn't have to go to these lengths with my mom, but I had to make issue big and react or create a problem somehow. Think histrionics to get my mom to notice there was a problem or could help. Maybe in the ass a bit because I grew up with some historic behavior as a coping method. Curbed that really quick in my late 20s, but now I over-explain and justify and throw all the evidence and facts at someone immediately so they can't ignore me or make excuses. I have to listen. I fucking hate it. Thanks. well. Neglect doesn't always look like it does in the movies. Absolutely. Yeah, it's crazy that domino effect that happens when you treat your kid a certain way, then they're going to feel the need to do either the same thing or like justify themselves in a certain way because they couldn't justify to their parents, so now they feel the need to do that to everyone else, or get attention in certain ways. It's just like, it's just so sad. It's so sad. So many people go through it. Holy shit, you would like the fuck out of me. I've been very vocal about when I'm not feeling well my whole life, but I never really gave it much thought as to why. Now I'm realizing that I had to do that excessively to be maybe heard and taken care of. I almost died when I was 9 or 10 from mononucleosis because no one would take me to the doctor. It was so bad they thought I had leukemia at first. My head is spinning. Damn. Yeah, man. Just,
This happened just moments before a group of aliens attacked. The heroes teamed up to fight back, but during the fight, the thing got struck by a massive energy, causing even more rocks to crumble
take care of your kids. I don't have any kids, but I mean, just even thinking about having a little, just protect that little guy or little girl for just with everything in me. And if something happened to them or if they felt a certain way, I would take it very seriously. Just in the way, like, I didn't grow up bad, but I had a lot of issues growing up, So I think I know now what to look out for. So maybe that makes you a better parent, maybe it makes you a worse parent, I don't know. But I'd be curious to know what you guys think down below. Let me know. Let's move to the next one. I carry pumpkin seeds in my pocket and plant them everywhere I go. I've been doing this for 20 years. Okay, this is nice. A little lighthearted one after this one. I carry pumpkin seeds in my pocket and plant them everywhere I go. I've been doing this for 20 years. There's no reason that I do this other than I find it funny. I hear whispers I don't know how a pumpkin grew here. Well, I never run out of seeds. I got pumpkin patches across the country. Till next time, lend a hand, leave a smile. I love that so much. Pumpkins! Oh my god, in the comments, Johnny Pumpkin Seed. Good old Johnny Pumpkin Seed planting all the pumpkin trees. That's funny. See, that is wholesome as hell. And really funny. I'm taking that one. I'm getting myself some pumpkin seed. Alright. He is having fun avoiding parental responsibilities, but there is no child. What? A guy I was dating intentionally tried to get me pregnant when we were together. Oh god. He ghosted and I never heard from him again. I lied and told him he got me pregnant and he blocked me. This guy has one of those fetishes just to like impregnate everyone he sees and just never be in their life. This is so weird. I managed to reach out to him and told him I gave birth and he hung up on me. There is no child. There is no child. He unblocks me every couple of months to taunt me about being left with his child. There is no child, LMAO. It's just funny to watch how much joy he gets out of thinking he created a child that disappeared. This is so weird. Oh my god, almost like it's a king for him. It is. I don't ever plan to tell him there's no child. Well, I'm just going to let him enjoy feeling like he did something. Why? Why give him the satisfaction? This guy's crazy. For those calling me crazy, okay. I'm not calling you crazy, but a little bit also. I do have borderline personality disorder, so it's playtime. Oh my god. She chose chaos. I mean, it's her life, not mine, I don't know what else you're gonna do, but I hope you post it on Reddit so I can see. Let's see what the comments say. You are truly unhinged, but I'm cracking up at the thought of him having an emotional breakthrough like 20 years and going on a search for his non-existent child. Yeah, see, I'm in. Write the movie, write the book. I'll read it, I'll watch it. Ooh, in 18 years' time, please pay an actor to go ring his doorbell with a suitcase and an official paternity test. Request, make the actor film everything, and let chaos ensue. That's wild. This is going to be the greatest update ever in like 20 years. Damn. Let's move on. Can we end with a wholesome one, it seems, anyway? I give customers more food as a McDonald's employee. Doing the Lord's work. This person. I'm here for it. That's pretty much it. I make sure that customers get their money's worth. I make the McFlurries full and add a good amount of sauce. I make sure the fries are always as full as possible, and sometimes I give the sauces away for free. And once put about 14 nuggets in a 9-piece box. I generally don't care anymore. I think the job is fun and stuff, but it's taken way too seriously. They haven't taught me how to work the grill and how to make burgers yet, but to be honest, that's for their own safety at this point. And LOL, I didn't think this would blow up. Thank you for the kind comments, gifts, and stories. I'm from Europe, but that might be why it's a 9-piece and not a 10-piece. Oh my goodness, I love that. I get so giddy when I find like so many extra fries in the bag or like a couple extra nuggets. I'm just like, oh my god, somebody's in there really thinking about Or the cheeseburger is actually assembled and not like in 8 pieces. When I worked in retail, or like I worked at a tanning salon specifically, we had like lotion bottles and samples that you could purchase for like a few bucks or whatever. I would give samples away all. I don't give a fuck. I don't give. What are you gonna fire me, bitch? You gonna fire me? But I would give away so much. I would give so many discounts. I also did lash extensions, and I would charge people mini fills when it was like a full fill. It was like saving them $50. It is the best feeling ever. Also, the person I worked for, just a horrible human being. I got harassed on a constant basis by like multiple 50+ men, and I would go to her and be like, "Hey, can I not work this shift because these guys come in all the time?" She didn't give a fuck. She didn't do anything about it. I got stalkers there, didn't do anything about it, so I didn't care. And it was a chain too. It wasn't like a family-owned thing. Anyway, long-winded way of me saying, karma will get you. Karma will get you. So give away some samples for free. All right. Anyway, have a great day.
Just go for prank from your enlightened modern, okay? Now, go give Emily Murphy's Claire Spilled with Dog on 2002's
Hello, my spicy and sweet little Dr. Pepper. How are you doing today? Good. I'm so glad. And I'm also glad because we are live in New York. It's Saturday night. But no, I'm doing another live Reddit tea moment. As you can see, we have the Patreon live chat on the screen with us. Say hello, live chat.
Savings on every aisle.
Christina, Zoe, Becca, George, Allison, Mia, Casper, Jean, Ruth, Kelly, Dave, Nina, Hannah, Davey, Katie, Rainbow, Catherine, Cheryl. But let's read some Reddit. Am I, Scullyway, by telling my brother's girlfriend he was cheating on her with a man? The tea is boiling, and I like it. I'll try to keep this short, but it's kind of wild, so buckle up. I'm already in my seat, sweetie. I'm ready to go Mach 5 down the highway. Let's go. Edit. I'm a straight girl, so I am not trying to date his girlfriend. She was my friend. Got it. Okay. My brother, let's call him Alex, and I have always been close. We grew up in a pretty open-minded family, and there were always rumors and very obvious clues that he might be gay. He's never officially come out, but honestly, everyone in our family kind of just knows. It's not a big deal to us. We've all quietly accepted it without pressuring him. My dad even joked once when Alex finally brings his boyfriend over, and Alex just kind of laughed awkwardly but didn't deny it. Anytime the topic came up more seriously, he would say, "I'm straight 100%. Now, that's a little bit presumptuous, but we'll see. We kind of already know where this is going. So, enter Julie. Alright. Julie is lovely, sweet, thoughtful, smart, the kind of person who brings homemade cookies to family dinners and helps clean up without being asked. Honestly, too good for Alex in my opinion. At first I thought maybe he's bi, no big deal, but then things got weird. Alex would constantly disappear for hours with vague excuses. He'd come home smelling like expensive cologne that definitely wasn't Julie's, and here's the kicker. One day I accidentally saw a text pop up on his phone from a guy. I'll call him Nico, saying something along the lines of, "Last night was amazing, I can't stop thinking about you." Oh no, this is such an awkward situation, dude. I didn't say anything at first. I figured it was his business, not mine. But the more time I spent with Julie, the more I realized she was all in. Planning their future, talking about moving in, asking me for advice on engagement rings, because I think Alex is going to propose soon. Oh my gosh, this went deep. And that's when I snapped. I didn't do anything dramatic. I just took her aside one day and asked her, "Do you know if Alex has ever dated men?" She looked totally blindsided. I told her what I knew, gently and respectfully. I didn't out him to the world. I just gave her enough to decide what she wanted to do. She cried a lot and then confronted him. Now all hell has broken loose. Alex is furious. He says I betrayed him and outed him, even though I have never used the words gay. I just mentioned what I saw and knew. My parents are torn. They're upset at me for interfering, but also kind of not surprised. And Julie, she broke things off, but she thanked me, and she would have wasted years on a lie if I hadn't spoken up. So yeah, my brother won't talk to me anymore. Half my family is giving me the cold shoulder, and I'm sitting here wondering, am I the asshole for telling his girlfriend the truth when he wouldn't? Damn.
It's time. Your time. not just to go back to school, but to come back and move forward with Purdue Global. Start your comeback today at Purdue.
Damn. Okay, I'm thinking, okay, Alex is my brother in this situation, and he has a girlfriend, but I know that he's cheating. Man, I just wouldn't, like, condone that behavior in my family, man. Like, I'd be like, dude, what do you do? I would confront him first, because it is family, personally, and then if he doesn't own up to it, like, I wouldn't blindside my brother necessarily, but if he doesn't own up to it, I'd be like, dude, I saw the text, and I did this, like, this is a safe place, you know, you're welcome here, and you don't need to hide it, but, like, it's not fair to your girlfriend. Like, I'd give him that moment, and then if he still didn't do it, absolutely, I would tell her, you know, that's what I would do. But yeah, so I don't think he would be asshole necessarily. I mean, it doesn't seem like he was going to tell her anyway, but the only other thing I'd do is maybe confront him first, I guess. But let's see what chat said. They're saying, not the asshole, not the asshole. I feel for the girlfriend, bless her. If he was experimenting and still finding himself, he shouldn't be in a relationship. Exactly, Ruth. I agree with you. You're not the asshole for saving that girl years of sorrow. You could have talked to him first, though. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, too. At the point, it is just his life. When you involve another person like that, it is not fair to allow her to be strung along. Yep, absolutely not the asshole. Exactly. Chat agrees with me. Chat agrees with me, so that means I'm right. But let's see what comments on Reddit said. I mean, no, LOL. I think if you know cheating is going on, you should let someone know because it's worse to say nothing. I agree. To be honest, cheating is cruel no matter who it's with, and she didn't deserve to be kept in the dark. Yep. Regardless of one's sexual orientation, cheating on your partner instead of being mature and breaking up with them first before pursuing someone else is wrong. He didn't have to tell her he was breaking things off because he was interested in another man, but he did need to break things off. Yeah, exactly. It's not like he even had to say why, because you don't need a reason why necessarily. You can just break up with someone. So, yeah, he had every opportunity to end things with you first before pursuing anyone else. IMO. It's just basic respect. Exactly. Yeah. All right. Let's move to the next one. Am I the asshole? My ex wants me to cut every guy off in my phone and told him no. Okay, well, your ex, so probably not. Me, 19 female, and my ex, 19 male, broke up after 2 years because we both decided long distance for college wouldn't work for us. Very mature. Very mature. Every time he comes back in town for a break, we make plans, hang out, and sleep together at least once before he leaves to go back to his college. Now that he's back for the summer, he's asking me to cut off every guy in my phone or any guy that I've went on a date with. This man is a child. We both openly have talked about the people we have went on dates with or talked to briefly since the breakup. I cannot tell if this man just wants to sleep with me because it's something easy for him to come back to and he just doesn't want me messing with anyone else, or if he is actually interested in pursuing me again. So for now, I have told him no. Am I the asshole? No, you're not. And yes, he's only sleeping with you. He's just a controlling asshole that you need to just cut off. But I mean, it's up to you at the end of the day. You know, if you like just mess around with this person, that's okay. That's totally fine. That's up to you. But you know, if you are feeling like he's trying to control what you're doing, which it seems like he is, it's not worth your time. There's a lot of people in the world. You know, let's see what the live chat says. He ain't interested in pursuing you. Situationship. Yeah, immediately no, he's trying to already cut you off from friends and you aren't even together. Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's not even your boyfriend. Go run. But they're not together, chop him off completely. Exactly. Bro's probably not getting girls, so he's just desperate at this point, 100%. Tell him to cut every girl in his phone. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and guess what? He won't. Guess what? He won't. It's not even worth it. It's not even worth it to ask that because he's just like ridiculous. All right, not the asshole. Please, for the love of Aphrodite, stop sleeping with and going on dates with exes. Research has shown that each iteration of on and off again relationships are worse than the previous one. Yeah, 100%. You're not the asshole, but this is a weird post for one thing. You have a strange definition of an ex. My biggest issue, though, is you saying that since you don't know his intentions, you've told him no for now. Yeah, there's some red flags there that need to be addressed. But you know how you address them? Next, am I the asshole for my response to a server who asked me why I didn't tip? This is interesting because I always tip. Edit was told to edit this in. I'm black and my partner is white. We live in the South. That's why people defaulting him is such a pet peeve. Okay, good to know. All right, before anyone goes into the comments to say it, I am not the best. Alright, my husband is autistic, so we shall see. But there's such a spectrum, so who fucking knows, you know? But my boyfriend and I went to eat at a new place. It wasn't super fancy, but it was kind of nice. Like, they have small plates and gluten-free menus, etc. It's a nice place, it's gluten-free, yeah, for sure. At the end of the meal, we didn't leave a tip because the waiter was just kind of rude. Not outwardly rude, but he only looked at my boyfriend when speaking and never turned his head over to me, even when I was ordering. It was just strange behavior. I told my boyfriend not to tip either, which he agreed and did not. I'm also a guy, so it wasn't a sexism thing, but it was just weird. Before we got out of the lobby, our server came and asked how the service was. My boyfriend said it was fine. We really just wanted to get out of there, so I didn't say anything. The waiter then asked why we didn't tip. The service was acceptable. That's when I verbatim said, you can ask your boss why you need tips in the first place, and you can look both customers in the eyes when they're ordering.
I just would never. Peak performance starts with prioritizing rest. I could never say that. Oh my God.
I walked out right after saying that. My boyfriend lingered for a bit and came out after me saying that the waiter was apologetic and didn't realize he was doing it. My boyfriend got kind of upset at me in the car and said I was rude, but I think it was rude of the waiter to outright ask customers why we didn't tip. I've never heard of someone doing that, and it seemed really unprofessional. My boyfriend is still bringing it up this morning, so now I'm wondering if I should have not said anything back to him. I should say I don't really have anything against tips, but I don't make it a rule to tip every time. I don't believe in tipping for service that makes me uncomfortable. Am I the asshole? Interesting. People should just be getting paid better, you know? Full stop. Full stop. The fact that they need to depend on tips fucking sucks. I have never been in a job where I needed tips. I've always worked in, like, the retail, and I had, like, a cleaning business for 10 years, and, like, I guess, no, that's not true. I did eyelash extensions and hair. What am I saying? That's a lie. I definitely got tips. But it didn't necessarily add anything because I had, like, my own salon, like, in my basement or whatever. Anyway, I have never been a food server, but I have had lots of family that have been, and that literally depend on tips. And I have just been raised, because I was raised in Canada where tipping is very, very normal, that you just always tip, and the minimum is always, you know, like 15% or 10 to 15%, but I usually do more, especially if they, like, go above and beyond. But it's just like, it's I don't know, it's hard. It's kind of just like who you are. If you feel like that waiter is being really rude to you, it's kind of hard. It's kind of a toss-up, and I know sometimes when you're autistic, you're more blunt. I found that with Caleb. He'll just say how he feels, like no sugarcoating at all, and that's just the way it functions, and you're used to it, but a lot of other people aren't used to it, so it comes off like, what the fuck. I'm really curious to see what my chat is saying right now, because they're, like, blown up right now. I always tip. My mom was raised in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, so I know how they work and what they get paid and what they put up with behind the scenes. Even bad waiters and waitresses, I always tip. And I'm the same. I feel like it's a situation you needed to be there to understand. Maybe the server is also autistic. It just seemed like they were being rude. That happens to me all the time. I'm not rude, just autistic. Fair enough. Yeah, it's kind of a hard one to judge. I agree service people should be paid a living wage, but that isn't reality, so tipping is really a part of the salaries. You should have to remember that. Off topic, currently eating Sour Boys. Hell yeah! Good time to say we have 4 new flavors of Sour Boys, and little guys. They're really good. Go check them out at sour.gg. Thank you for the shout out, Katie. I used to be a server and always tipped well for good service. I was out with another couple and we split the bill. I left my tip for my share of the bill on the table, and the other couple indicated that they'd be tipping on their share of the bill. They didn't. I got chased out in the parking lot by a waitress giving me back my tip money and telling me off for not tipping enough. Oof. I was absolutely mortified, but the waitress was completely out of line there. I never returned to that restaurant. Yeah, that's wild. That's crazy. Quote unquote, I'm black and my partner's white. We live in the South. That's why people defaulting to him is such a pet peeve. And then they commented, quite right too. You should make an agreement that you'll order and pay, then share the cost outside afterwards. Valid reasons for not tipping if the server still ignores you. Yeah, I mean, there's so many factors to this right now, you know? I would first bring it up with the server, and if it's not adequately addressed, then I would bring it up to the management. Unless he is absolutely not doing his job as a server, then I believe you should tip. Yeah, like if you were just sitting there for an hour and he didn't come by with the water or that kind of thing. But I get that it could be just a pet peeve given the circumstances, I guess. I don't know. I used to serve and don't tip for bad service. I don't understand why these comments want you to stay professional if the waiter clearly wasn't, not the asshole. I mean, yeah, I don't know, man. Not the asshole. The server asked why, and you told him exactly why. It's not rude to answer a question. Your boyfriend is a white male, and while he might have some empathy for you, he probably really doesn't totally understand how people of color are treated, especially in the South. It's something you've had to live with your entire life. I think you answered the server perfectly, and maybe he will be better at his job now. Doubtful, but it could happen. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, it's all really situational, you know? You gotta be in that person's shoes, like, literally. Alright, next. Am I the butt face? I didn't know this was a Reddit. Am I the butt face for not attending my sister's wedding on my birthday? What a weird time to have your wedding. Okay, I'm so curious about this. Hey Reddit, so for context, I'm a 27 female and have always shared a close bond with my younger sister, Emily, 26 female. We've generally always celebrated birthdays, holidays, basically everything together. My birthday parties / gatherings are some of our most memorable family events. A few months ago, Emily got engaged to her fiancé, Mark. They began planning their wedding and recently announced that the date would be on July 20th, my birthday. I was surprised and a bit hurt, as she didn't mention this to me before choosing the date. Of course, it's well within her rights, but it almost feels like a division of the family on where to go. Interesting. I don't give a shit about my birthday, so I wouldn't care at all. Anyway, when I approached her about it, she said, "It's just a birthday. This is my wedding day, the most important day of my life." I expressed that I felt overlooked and that it would mean a lot if she considered another day. She dismissed my feelings, insisting that the venue and vendors were already booked and non-refundable. I decided not to attend the wedding. I felt like an afterthought in the planning and would rather spend my birthday with my friends and family. Now our family is divided. Some of the family is saying I'm being selfish and should support my sister, and I really don't know if I'm in the wrong here. So people have Reddit, am I the butt face for refusing to attend my sister's wedding because it's on my birthday? I'm gonna be so for real right now. You can celebrate your birthday any day. You can...
A win is a win. Oh, I don't care what you say. A win is a win.
Celebrated the day before, you can celebrate it the weekend after. You can't really do that with a wedding. And some venues are really hard to book, and sometimes they only have like specific dates, especially if it's on a weekend. I'm just going off of me. If my sister was like, "Hey, I'm getting married on July 1st, which is my birthday," I'd be like, "Sweet, cool, it's okay." If you're like, "It's my birthday week, it's my birthday month," that's fine. I don't understand that totally. We didn't really do like massive birthday things growing up for me. Wedding, we hope to be once in a lifetime, and birthday you have every year. Exactly. So wedding, what the fuck, your birthday comes every year. That's what the Reddit comment said. So you're willing to miss one of your family's most memorable events because it's not focused on you. Amen. And now OP's sister is going to always have another thing to celebrate instead of OP's birthday, and will likely not celebrate OP's birthday on the day of with her again, as sister will be celebrating her anniversary with her husband. I think OP is well within her rights to be upset about that, as sister has the right to have her wedding, whatever. Somebody else said OP is being childish. So many people on this thread need to grow up and realize that they're not the main character. No one gives a shit about anyone else's anniversary, and we're 21, no one has a huge birthday celebration every year. That's a bit childish. Listen, whenever I can spend time with family, I love to spend time with family. And if that means your sister gets to, I mean, I don't know anyone that gets family together to spend an anniversary.
Excuse up to the side. Fizzles. Fabian. Would that be, is that Athletics check to get over the He opens like it's 6 again. Oh, excuse me, 13. Okay. You see the guy with the bat that says a little slug on the side.
Mine doesn't, but they do for birthdays. So your sister and celebrate that, and maybe get the family together for that, and you can get the family together for your birthday on like a different day or something. Oh, that's a good point, Sarah. It says, and the bride's sister is going to remember that for the rest of her life, that her sister didn't come to her wedding. That's actually so sad. It is so sad, but it just goes to show their dynamic. Like, clearly, somebody has a bit of an ego, and maybe it's both of them. You know, and that's just, some families are like that. It just is what it is. It's unfortunate. All right, let's do one more for shits and giggles. Am I the asshole for getting my coworker fired for his repeated visible dick print? Just let that sink in. Just let that sink in. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. You ready to move on? I'm 19 female, oh Lord, and interning part-time, and we all dress casually. I was alone in a room at my office one morning, and my coworker Josh, late 20s male, came and started chatting with me. When I turned to face him, I could clearly see the outline of his erection. Oh my God. No. He was wearing thin sweatpants, and they left nothing to the imagination. I didn't say anything. After he left, I just went back to work. I ignored it that first time, but it kept happening. Josh would come alone to chat, and each time he was visibly hurt, and I could see it through his flimsy shorts, or sweatpants, or thin dress pants. He didn't even act embarrassed or try to hide it. He'd just stand there like it's nothing. He acts normal around everyone else, and that this hasn't happened any other time I have seen him, not with others around, just when it's only us. Yeah, he has this is like a fetish to him. He's like being fucking disgusting. I didn't bring it up with anyone yet. I just didn't want to appear dramatic and didn't want to make myself a target. Then he started making comments. It's hot out. I had to wear these shorts today. One day, Josh came over and he asked me to come to his apartment nearby over lunch. I politely declined, and while he was leaving, he said, "All right, I've got to go to the bathroom to take care of something. See you around." While glancing down, he clearly had an erection, and the outline was clear. I'm so sorry, honey. I am so sorry. This is coming from someone that's been through horrifyingly very similar situations at the ripe old age of like 17, 18, 19. That was it for me. I went to HR and reported everything. HR just put Josh on review, and he ended up being fired with cause. Now, some of my coworkers are icing me out. One of my coworkers sarcastically muttered out, "I made sure to wear proper pants today. Didn't want anyone to get any ideas." While I was having lunch near some of them, and they laughed. My boss has been talking to me less, and I feel alienated. That is so disappointing. That is so incredibly disappointing. And it just goes to show like how not seriously a lot of workplaces take this kind of harassment, and that, I mean, yeah, he got fired, but like for what? Now she's just being iced out because she felt so uncomfortable. That is so unfortunate. I know this exactly. I have left 3 jobs because of extremely similar things, and feeling like I was the reason that things happened in the company because of this situation, or like everyone feeling uncomfortable around me because somebody else made me feel uncomfortable. Oh man, yeah, this is you're not the asshole. Not the asshole in the slightest. Look for a new job. That environment made him comfortable, and you, the villain, update that resume. Yeah, that's what I think as well. I want to know how everyone at work found out this is retaliation, and it should be reported to HR. Yeah, that's so sad. She did the right thing and shouldn't have to go to work every day feeling uncomfortable. There's a better job. There's a better job out there for you. Let's see what Reddit said. Sounds 100% intentional. Gross behavior. Absolutely not the asshole. It's a menace. Yeah. He's a freak. Disgusting piece of shit. Guys learn how to hide their erections in junior high. He was definitely wanting you to notice. If your coworkers know exactly why he was fired, they are the assholes. Yeah, I wonder if this is like a male-dominated field too, because at one of my jobs that was the case. It was a car dealership, by the way. It was a car dealership. Having been in and having known multiple people of all genders being in similar situations to this is why people rarely complain. Even when action is taken, the person complaining will still suffer consequences. Don't get me wrong, I'd still complain if I got harassed again, but staying in a situation like that is worst possible outcome, but I'd put my papers in order to find another job before I do. But I hope you find another job, and I'm so glad that you reported this piece of shit. Otherwise, it would have just kept happening. So you're doing the right thing. You know, and that anybody watching where it's like similar stuff is happening, you gotta speak up. You gotta speak up, and that if you don't, then it's just gonna continue to happen. It's unfortunate. But I feel like we're ending on a little bit of a serious note, but that's sometimes it's serious. Okay, sometimes it's serious. Sometimes we need to talk about this stuff. We need to talk about this kind of stuff because it's important. And I want to thank my chat, my lovely, beautiful Patreon chat that joined us for this video. Love you guys. And, yeah, I appreciate you guys. Let me know what you guys think about all this stuff down below. I always put comments. I'm always down. And if you want to join the Patreon chat, next time you gotta join the Patreon. All that info's down in the description. And also, new flavors of Sour Boys. New flavors of Sour Boys. Pretty cool. Pretty cool packaging. Pretty cool packaging. Really good flavors. Thank you for watching.
Aaron's has all kind of payment options for the furniture, appliances, and tech you want, with flexible rent-to-own plans. Pay monthly or pay weekly with Easy Pay. Whether you're shopping online or in store, it's the flex.
Hey guys, I want to introduce you to somebody new to the family, and that is this guy. It's my new slippery little snake. I feel like his name should start with an S, but I'd like you guys to name him. But he reminds me of you guys because he's just a little guy. He's just a cute little guy. Never mind.
You went grab that photo, grab the wheel, and the car fully fishtailed and flipped.
Guys, I'm fine. I'm okay. I know how to do YouTube, I swear. I put him over there. I put him in the back there. He's on the fireplace now, over there. Yeah, you guys name him in the comments. I'll go through the comments and I'll pick the very best one. It has to start with an S, though. And I also have a snake because it might be a little symbolism for the movie that may or may not be coming out on July 25th, which I think is next week when this comes out. I know you guys probably haven't heard about it. I know I definitely haven't been shoving it down your throats like a $2 Costco hot dog. Sorry about that, by the way, but I'm just so proud of it. I made it with my best friends, including Jay. Shout out to Jay and Selena, obviously. We literally made it last year. We finished filming it around this time last year, and now it's out in theaters, which is absolutely crazy. And we wouldn't have done it if we didn't have an audience like you guys. So thank you so much for all your support, and make sure to go see it in theaters. It's such a cool movie to see in theaters. So we're so excited. Want to hear what you guys think about it, and I think doing a Q&A after it's been out for a couple weeks would be really cool too, to give you some behind the scenes stuff. So yeah, I'm excited about that. Also, the movie is House on Eden. If you actually don't know what it is, I'll make sure to put some links in the description and stuff if you want to read stuff about it or anything like that. But go get tickets. I'll also put links to tickets, but you can look at your local theater and see if it's playing near you. But without further ado, to be honest, I've been super busy doing PR and traveling for the movie, and research has been very difficult to do in that time, so I thought we'd just sit back, relax, read some drama, read some Reddit drama, because that's one of my favorite things to do in my off time. Is that sad? Maybe. We're gonna do it anyway, okay? You're watching it. That's even more sad. Just kidding. I'm really glad you're here. Let's get into it.
Oh my god!
So, we are reading Best of Redditor updates because I love a good update. I don't like being edged at the end of a freaking Reddit post. So, I'm here to finish you. Okay, all I have done is read the titles for this, and this one is absolutely insane. It is Am I the A-hole? Am I the scallywag? If I report the couples therapist that married my ex-boyfriend a year after our sessions with her. So, your couples therapist married your boyfriend, the one that you were going to with the boyfriend you were going to see the couples therapist. That is absolutely insane. This sounds like the worst drama, maybe rom-com movie ever. But let's get into it. In 2017, I, female 25, saw a couples therapist with my then boyfriend, male 36. After 3 sessions with her, I refused to return due to her blatant flirtatious behavior and extremely judgmental attitude toward me, which my ex-boyfriend called me delusional for pointing out. Gaslighting begins. She had told me that I seemed too immature, not ready for therapy or a serious relationship. The whole thing was focused on my ex-boyfriend and his complaints about me. She never asked about my feelings or perspective in the relationship. What a shitty therapist, dude. This sounds like the worst therapist ever. Now, we're not even at the point where, she marries your boyfriend. We broke up about 2 months after the sessions, but I stayed living with my ex-boyfriend until November. Once after I moved out, I had to return to our old apartment to get mail. This was in December, and that was the first time I saw the therapist with my ex. That was so soon after. They happened to be getting ready to go out on his motorcycle, and we were both wearing full-face motorcycle helmets. But I knew from her body type and hair that it was her, along with my instincts, which suspected something was going on. The whole Yes, I moved on with my life, as you should. I just found out yesterday my ex got married due to a friend telling me about a photo he posted on Facebook. The photo was of him and my ex-therapist celebrating their 1 year wedding anniversary. Said the 1 year wedding anniversary. Wait, how long has it been? I found her Facebook with the name change, and sure enough, they got married September of 2018. Or earlier, that's just when she posted the wedding photos. Probably earlier, usually you don't get wedding photos if you have like a professional photographer for like weeks, if not months sometimes, you know? This was less than a year after the breakup with my ex, and barely over a year after our sessions with her ended.
Morning, sweat, taste test, sweat, go time, grow time, big.
That's rough. I'm considering filing a complaint with the American Counseling Association. My friends and mental health counselors I know say I have enough evidence. I am not upset that my ex moved on, so have I. Sure, I thank the universe every day I'm no longer with that narcissist. Yeah. However, I feel deeply disturbed to find out he married our therapist, especially remembering all the harmful stuff she said to me in the sessions, which, to be honest, really messed with my head. I fear coming off as a bitter ex, so am I the asshole? No, babe. What? No, that's crazy. God, I can't even imagine the mental circus that's going on in your brain, or like during that time, like going to a counselor, trying to mend your relationship with somebody, and then the therapist just being like, I'm like right in front of you basically, like what? And then just like no, make it valid. Oh man, like I mean, you're better off. It's like, yeah, is it worth it at that point since they got married and everything? But you're in the complete right to report this person, because that's crazy, so unprofessional, especially if I guess they're working
right up under his shoulder, here's all within the shoulder, pop up so he can see the blade coming out of his own body, through the eye, into his brain, and out with a flourish of blood that rips across.
That's what we're going to do, right?
That is
I showed you, Apostle. I did. No, I don't.
American Counseling Association. So I'm assuming they're maybe a private therapist, maybe? I don't really know how that goes. Is this like the Volturi from Twilight? Like, I don't know how this works. Do you just go to them and then they just rip her head off? I'm not sure how that works. But yeah, no, you're definitely in no way, shape, or form the asshole. There's some comments though. Hi, I'm a therapist. Please report her. Her behavior is ridiculously unethical, and who knows what else has she done, or if she should be allowed to practice. Not the asshole times a million. Yeah, like I can't. I would never go to a therapist that ended up breaking up a couple that was coming to her and then marrying. It's just like, that's insane. The normal rule is no dating patients within 12 months of the last encounter, correct? Not sure if that's legal or just an in-house rule. Even if the marriage relationship was a year after, I bet OP's fella started banging therapist after the first few meetings. Yeah, but I mean, they started dating very shortly after you. Hopefully it wasn't the case, but you just don't know, you know? Are there any professional bodies that can prevent her practicing, though? I don't know if they can be struck off, like a surgeon or doctor who's guilty of malpractice. Yeah, if an ethics complaint is filed, she can potentially lose her license. Okay, well then, worth it. Worth it. Petty revenge, let's go, you know? It's not even petty, man. It's justified. We have an update. Oh, wait, before we do the update, it says, curious, whose idea was it to go for therapy, and who picked out the therapist? Him and him. What does that mean? Oh, any chance this was happening prior? I have no idea, but one of my friends suggested that. Oh, the scandal. This is crazy. This is like next level sociopathic. Okay, let's read the update. Wow, thank you everyone for your responses. I realize that as the ex, it is pretty much impossible for it not to seem like I'm jealous, petty, bitter. You're not. Whatever you want to say. However, it is also impossible to have sat in those sessions and then see your therapist and ex get married and have zero feelings about, of course, regardless of having moved on. Please give me a break. I'm human. If people are shaming this girl, I swear it's like inhuman for people to say that. Anyway, I have made my decision. I am not going to participate in this post anymore, but I sincerely thank those of you that made meaningful contributions. No, another update. So, one of my friends has basically taken it upon herself to investigate this therapist. Yes, good friends, we like this, okay? I swear she should be in the FBI. She found out that this is the third last name that this woman has practiced psychotherapy with. She's a serial couple breaker-upper marrier. Under the first last name in 2014, she was charged with a DUI with property damage. She also comes up on health grades with a 5 one-star reviews and an overall 3-star rating. Essentially, what this new information does for me is confirm that she has been a shitty human being with shitty morals for quite some time. There's no way this is the first time she has caused undue harm to a client. Therefore, I can say with certainty that I am reporting. Nice! Hell yeah. That's good. I'm so glad. 'Cause, yeah, I mean, you just don't want her out there. Because if she is affecting and harming other people, it's one thing for yourself, and if you can live with it, whatever. But I think you're doing the right thing. Because that's criminal. Who is this chick, man? What the fuck is going on? She's like a 16-year-old. What the hell? How did she get her practice? She probably forged her license as well. Probably isn't even a therapist at all. Probably just cosplaying or something. Comments say, not the asshole. Ordinarily, I'd suggest this is pretty petty. Happens in relationships that go south, blah, blah, blah. However, in this instance, that's a very good chance that someone that you went to for counseling took advantage of your vulnerabilities and used them to manipulate you for your own gain. So I'd say go for it and report that shit high and fly. Yeah. That said, you know what kind of guy your ex is, and now she's stuck with him. So there's at least some justice in that. I think so too. Dude, I can't even imagine, going into a session insecure already, probably, and then that happening. I hope it didn't, affect you too hard. I think you're very self-aware, which is really, really good. But man, that's gotta, 2 ways to Sunday, whatever that means. I heard somebody say it once and I liked it, so I said it. But anyway, congrats, and good for you. Let's move on. Okay, this seems mild, but also it could be a travesty. Am I Miss Calloway for insisting that I have nothing to apologize for after my husband read my diary? Shit. I haven't had a diary since I was 12, but I shit you not, 3 days before this, and I did not read this. I started keeping one again, or a journal, because I was maybe I'll start writing my feelings down again. And it is kind of therapeutic, but, it's your own thing, it's private, but you are putting your thoughts on paper, which is you're creating a paper trail of your thoughts, alright? I'm not saying that this is not justified, I think it's super inappropriate for somebody to read your private stuff, but it leaves stuff for this to happen, so let's get into it. I'm trying to stay focused here, but my edibles have kicked in and I need advice. I understand. I have kept a diary since I was 10. It is my form of therapy. Get it. I totally get it. And I do not police my thoughts. I have never let anyone read my diary. It's let somebody read your brain. It'd be weird. My husband and I started dating over a decade ago. One day, a couple of months in, he was over at my apartment, and I had hopped in the shower. When I came out, he was sitting on the bed, shell-shocked. He said he read my journal, which was mostly about my life as a newly single woman. He told me it really stung to read all that. She said, but wait, hold on, how did you find it? He said he was looking for matches. He couldn't tell me why he kept reading it even after he knew what it was, but his apology was sincere, and I forgave him. That's good. Not too long after that, things got messy. He started getting either very sad or very angry while referring to things he read. This is bad. His feelings were so intense that I started apologizing for my thoughts. Oh, yeah, you can't use inner thoughts as ammunition, mate. You can't do that, mate. Oh. Anyway, we got married. Okay, well, that was a zero segue. Just slap that down on the table like a bologna sandwich. Okay, let's keep going. A decade later, I was thinking of a divorce and wrote a ton to process my thoughts about some sensitive topics. Again, he stumbled upon my journal and read it all. I was pissed, but he convinced me that he would never do it again. Besides, he was really hurt by the things I wrote, and I felt bad. Oh, this is such a weird... I let it go. But he started getting sad or angry again, thinking about what he read. Once more, the intensity of his feelings led me to apologize for my thoughts. Now, here we are, married with kids. Okay, you slapped that bologna sandwich down again, just segued multiple years. Got it. Setting up Scrabble on a Friday night. He went to find a piece of paper and came back quiet and distracted. What did you go to your journal to find a piece of paper? Hide your journal better. I'm just kidding. I asked if everything was okay. He looked at me sharply and told me that he just read my journal. What are you doing? I tensed, thinking of how I recently tackled some tough feelings related to our different ethnic and religious backgrounds. Those are big topics. I wrote things that would have been hurtful to read, and I was mortified knowing he did read them, but I was also annoyed. Wait, you read my journal again. He blamed me for leaving it out. What are you, 5? I have to touch anything I see in front of me and just accidentally read it intently. Let me listen to the audiobook. He blamed me for leaving it out and accused me of being a bad person for what I wrote, but honestly I wasn't listening to him anymore. I just wanted to know why we were dealing with this again. It's pretty fucking basic knowledge that one shouldn't read other people's diaries, right? But look at him, forcing his way into my brain and shaming me for what he saw. I surprised myself by slamming my hand on the table a third time. I'm not even there right now, and I have secondhand embarrassment, and I'm scared right now. We were both hurt, but he was accusing me of overreacting while minimizing and deflecting from his behavior. He called me overly emotional when I cried over how violated I felt. This feels so wrong, like I committed a thought crime. So am I the asshole for insisting he's 100% wrong? I'm so mad, but I am doubting whether my reaction was proportional to what he did. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being terrible, what would you rate someone reading your journal, and would you apologize for the things you wrote? Interesting. Yeah, again, it's hard. It's like, you're obviously writing down your thoughts. Like, for me, it's like, man, I feel stupid doing it, but I don't know. It's just like, literally writing down everything I'm thinking at that moment. And sometimes I work through it, and I'm a completely different person from the beginning until the end. And I'm like, screw this, screw that, I think this, but terrible writing, like, not great things about myself, or whatever, just life. And you obviously don't expect somebody to read that. That's kind of the whole point. So absolutely, you can be extremely frustrated with him for finding that, especially like if there's not anything in there that like you did something wrong that's gonna jeopardize your relationship. It's just like feelings you're feeling. Then I can see it just feeling like a violation of privacy. And I feel like, to be the devil's advocate, I feel like he's feeling, since he read it the first time, that like he knows that there is something in the house where he can get a read on exactly how you're feeling. And it's almost like a self-sabotage thing, I think. Like, it's like a temptation that's hard to not go for, which it's not right in any way, but I'm just, playing devil's advocate. It's like knowing that you've seen hurtful things before, and maybe you're feeling a certain way, maybe you're feeling insecure, and you can go over there and literally get word for word what your partner is feeling. It's probably just that temptation that he just can't control and doesn't make it right. But yeah, he's definitely in the wrong. You gotta find a safe for that thing or something. I don't know. But yeah, on a scale of 1 to 10, would you rate someone reading your journal? Man, I don't know. I mean, they shouldn't, right? They shouldn't, especially if you've asked them multiple times not to. I mean, it'd have to be a 10, but then I also have that, like, just weird, like, human understanding that it's like, touch the wet paint, at the same time. Again, not justifying it, but, let's see if there's any comments about this first one. Not the asshole, it's almost a guarantee he has read it more than 3 times. Absolutely, probably, at least. It's a gross violation of trust and privacy, and he never will change. Yeah, he's absolutely read it regularly whenever he has been able to find it. Yeah, he waits to find something to be mad at her about before admitting to it, but I can guarantee he's been reading it the entire time. Yeah, again, like, it's like, after that first time, like, heroin dose, it's like, I need that fuel, I need the ammunition, which is so unhealthy. But it's just, yeah, it's unfortunate, and it's like you have to be losing trust for him, and he's like trying to look for reasons to not trust you or to be angry at you, which is so unhealthy and so bad. But there's an update.
Family, fireflies, up past 9. Hershey's milk chocolate, marshmallows, graham crackers. The best things.
We talked today, and he continued to minimize what he did and kept steering the conversation to how hurt he was reading what I wrote. I kept asking if I shared those things willingly with him, When he said no, I told him that he can then deal with the consequences of his own actions by himself. I kept stressing to him what a big violation it was and that I needed space to think. I guess he's been stewing about it for the last few hours because tonight he started to yell at me in front of our kids and angrily tell them about what I wrote. Okay, this guy already sucked. That is so over the line and inappropriate. What the actual frick knuckles, dude? He literally told them that I don't like that they are from his culture. And why are you hurting them? To hurt me? I was pleading with him to stop and trying to cover his mouth. The kids were shrieking and sobbing, and he was yelling and wide-eyed. The chaos of tonight just broke me. I had flashbacks of my childhood, screaming and crying on the stairwell, watching my dad go after my mom. Long ago, I had promised that I would never put my kids through something like that. I tried to get them out of the house since he wasn't stopping, but we only go as far as my car, where the three of us sat crying while I kept apologizing to them and trying to reassure them. God, how did I get to this point? This took a really sad turn. My goodness. It's hard because I mean, again, I'm never going to justify. He's a piece of shit for reading that. But after reading that and then knowing that, I mean, I don't know who was there, but that, like, you have an issue with who he is as an entire person and who your kids are. I don't know what was stated, but, like, that's gonna sting, and he has no right to act this way. This is completely abusive and awful and terrible, and you guys just shouldn't be together. I think you are doing the healthy thing and writing stuff down and trying to process your feelings, but I think this is probably better in therapy, if anything. I think you guys need to talk to each other. I think that might be missing. Again, I'm not a therapist, okay? Definitely don't go to the therapist for the last story, first of all, but this just sounds so toxic at this point. I mean, I know you're still with him, like, obviously there's love there and everything, yeah, but I don't know. Man, I don't know. I try to put myself in both heads, and it's like, the dude's clearly insecure and does not trust his partner, and you are just trying to process your feelings through writing, and you are the victim of the situation, absolutely. Let's see, there's another update, so let's read it. Alright, in May of 2022, I took a break from my marriage because my husband's verbal abuse was escalating. He moved out for a few weeks. Some of the things that he said during our last fight, but had said many times before, were that I'm a failure, no one likes me, and I'm socially awkward. I have a graduate degree, I make good money, and I have friends, but I still believed him. Terrible. During our separation, I signed up for a dating site. This was not to date or hook up with anyone, and I did not meet up or talk with anyone. It was only to see if I was really as undesirable as he made me out to be. He was wrong. I felt better about myself, and I deleted my account. Like Ross from Friends, I thought this was okay since we were on a break. I recognized that I should have set ground rules with my husband during the break, and I apologized to him about that. We tried to work on our marriage, but, as those who read my other posts know, I am divorcing him. Probably for the best. This time, during our separation, we set ground rules. One of them, at his request, was that we refrain from dating sites and dating in general until the divorce is finalized. We both agreed. Okay, that's good. 2 days ago, I got a bank notification about some weird changes. When I looked into it, I saw that he had joined 2 dating apps and mistakenly charged our joint account, just continuing to be the piece of shit he is. I took a screenshot and sent it to him without comment. He responded that it was okay for him to do that because I did it in the past. Okay, eye for an eye, got it. When I mentioned that we discussed and agreed to not do that, he said, I'm just doing what you did. Okay, well, at least you're divorcing, because this is so unhealthy and terrible. This is awful. I said he was the one who specifically asked that we not join sites until the divorce was finalized. But again, he said that I did it last time, so it's okay that he did it. He's now acting overly friendly so that I will let this issue go. But I feel deceived and can't go back to trying to be amicable with him. I decided to limit our conversations to our mediation sessions, but he continues to insist he did nothing wrong and accusing me of withdrawing, like I always do, and of making the divorce contentious. So am I the asshole for being bothered by what he did? I don't trust him, which makes me want to pull away, but maybe he's right that I don't know how to respond in a healthy way. He always accuses me of overreacting to things or of having unhealthy emotional responses. So if someone could please tell me what the healthy way to respond to this would be, I'm all ears. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad y'all are getting divorced. This is hard to read, man. Listen, I don't have the answers. What do you guys think in the comments? I don't know. I'm an empath. I get how people feel. I get how he's feeling. I get how you're feeling. He's still the piece of shit asshole, you know, in this whole situation. And he has beat you down to the point where you felt that you needed to go out and seek something while you were separated and, you know, ended up getting forced anyway. Is that right? Maybe not, but like, I don't know what's right or wrong. I don't know. And then him doing this is he's just trying to beat you down one last time. That's very clear. Just, I know he's like your husband still, but you're getting divorced. Just let him be a piece of shit. You know, you can't control this person. He's clearly like just. In his own ways. So, man, I don't know. I don't know. Back to the comments, it says he read that diary on a regular basis for the entire relationship. Reddit just always goes like, this is exactly what happened. They're so sure of themselves, and it helped him become a better abuser. Damn, that right there hit. I hope someone told OOP that exact same thing. She needs to hear it. She already left him. Sure, but they have kids, so he's still in her life somehow, and he's probably still doing all he can to manipulate every situation he can get away with that. Yeah, 100%. And that includes this dating app thing. That's like just another thing he can do, even though you guys are separating. It's like, how can I get a couple stabs in? It's so unhealthy. Ugh. The next comment is from the quote from, he said he was looking for matches. He couldn't tell me why. He kept reading it after he knew, even after he knew he was, but his apology was sincere. I forgave him, and the person said, yeah, that's just weird. Surely one picks up a book. This is not matches. The person puts it back and doesn't read it because it's clearly not matches. Yeah, you're not in a game, in a fucking game like pressing E and picking up stuff and inspecting it, you know? I just don't understand. I have a journal, and while I don't use it often and probably wouldn't care that much if someone read it, the thing that would be tiring to explain is that I only write in it when I am at my lowest. Same. The impression it would give of me is not representative at all. Oh my god, yeah, man. Like, I look back at passages when I was like a teenager of old journals, and I'm like, oh my god. Like, what a, like, just sad, mean, little nasty person. And I know I only felt like that in the moment, and then a week later I was like a completely different person, you know? And I think that's the case for most people. Yeah, it's just really unfortunate. Don't fucking read people's diaries, you know? Just don't, or journals, or whatever. It's an invasion of privacy, and if you don't trust that person, then maybe you shouldn't be with that. It's been a while since I've done that. Probably been like a year. Why did I start doing that? I gotta do that more. But yeah, this was a hefty one. I'm gonna see if I can find a little bit of a lighter one, maybe, to end off on. Okay, I don't think this is lighter, but it's just not. None of them are light. Anyway, am I the scallywag for not allowing my friend to bring her service animal, guide dog, to my wedding? Probably? Oh, we'll see. I don't know. What does this guide dog do? You know, is it like Kevin to me? Like, technically he's a registered emotional support animal, because by God he is. But I don't need to bring him to a wedding, you know? Or is this person blind and they can't see and they need this dog to, I mean, it says guide dog, so we'll see. I, 28 female, will be getting married in September. Congratulations. Congratulations. I have a blind friend. Okay, well, that just answered my thing right there, but let's continue. Who mostly relies on her guide dog. The dog obviously has access rights to all places. Now, I am in a sticky situation, and I can sense that I will be the asshole. Okay, well then why are you on it? I'm still gonna read it. I have 3 chronic illnesses that I take 23 pills a day for. Severe asthma, and you guessed it, an extremely severe dog allergy. Okay, now we're getting interesting again. How severe? Like, hives, throat closing up? I'm very curious. Usually, when I meet with my friend, we meet in the open, and I take 2 allergy pills. However, because of all the other medication I take, these pills make me extremely drowsy to the point where I am officially not allowed to drive. And I usually crash as soon as I get home from our, oh, I thought you meant crash our car. Like, how many times have you crashed? What's happening? As soon as I get home, I crash when I get home from our get-togethers. got it. Okay, context matters. We have a full, thick story right now. Our wedding will be very intimate, i.e. we will be in relatively small rooms. I feel horrible about this, but I don't think I can let my friend bring her dog. It just wouldn't work. I talked about it with my fiance and some friends. Finally, I talked to my friend about it, explained the situation, and said I would love her to come, but she can't bring her dog. I said that 4 of our mutual friends had offered to be on a roster and assist her should she need it. Alternatively, if she is not comfortable with this, she could bring a person of her choosing to the wedding, or I'd pay for professional aid for the day. Okay, you're doing a lot. You're doing a lot here. This is, okay, good. I think it is important to note that her dog is not for any additional issues like seizures or anything like that. That doesn't matter. She's blind. Okay, she needs her dog to see where she's going. The seizure thing is null and void. That was not needed. Unfortunately, she was less than happy with my suggestions. She accused me of being ableist and thinking her disability can be switched off for the day. I understand what I asked was a lot, and it was a difficult topic. I told her to tell me if she changes her mind. I'd be happy to make arrangements, but I won't budge. Damn. I thought this was going to go another way, but you brought it back in. I feel like it is your wedding day. And if you are severely allergic to dogs, I don't know what that means. I mean, I know what an allergy is, but there's a big spectrum. If you're severely allergic, you're going to be severely uncomfortable on your wedding day. Itchy eyes, throat close, or whatever it is, sneezing. And I get that you don't want to be like that on your day. I think that you've done everything you can do to make her comfortable, and I think you are very aware that she can't turn it off for a day, so that's why you offered to pay for a professional to come, have people lined up that would be willing to help her, through the night and everything. I don't really know what else you could do in this situation, if I'm being totally honest. And let me know what you think in the comments below. This is a really tough one. I know you're saying it's intimate, so it could just be just family, but you're saying you're bringing friends, so you can't be actually, you can't uninvite her and be like, you know what, we're actually just going to be doing family because you're bringing friends. You've put it out there, and I think it's just up to her to understand that you're just trying to be comfortable on your wedding day and also trying to make her as comfortable as possible. I don't think you're the asshole in this situation. I think you're trying your best to do what would work for the day while still wanting your friend there, But let's read the comments. Maybe I'm stupid. I don't know. Verdict was not the asshole. Commenter said, not the asshole, although I will point out, if the facility is that small that you'll be incapacitated even with your RX, then you shouldn't have invited her in the first place and just told her it was really just family only. I mean, that's kind of what I said, but it's it's your wedding. You can invite whoever you want, OP said, I don't think that would have worked as far for mutual friends who are not family. I mean, exactly. See, can I suggest an alternative? Can your friend have her service dog groomed right before the wedding? Well, that's a good suggestion. Or they may brush the dog with one of those fermenter-type shampoos, conditions, brush outs. It really helps cut down on shedding and would greatly help with allergies that you have. OP said it wouldn't be enough. She must have a really severe allergy. But that is a good suggestion. I didn't even think of that. Although I don't have allergies to animals, so I don't really know how much it affects people. But we have an update, so I'm very interested to see what happens here. Some of you may remember my post. Well, since I have got married, we decided to get married sooner than we planned because the situation was good where we live, and we didn't want to risk having to cancel if numbers spike. I think this was during COVID, by the way, so that makes sense why it was an intimate wedding. Before, I took your advice and called my friend. I explained how severe my allergies are once again and told her I really want to be able to enjoy my wedding day. I apologized for making suggestions and not simply asking her, and said she is welcome to bring up any ideas that would help her being able to attend. That's fair too. I don't think you meant it in a wrong way to be I've asked these people to help. I can definitely get this person. I think you came with good intentions, but maybe that is a good point where it's just is there another solution that suits you best? I think that's a good reflection. That do not include her dog. She was adamant that it was her dog or nothing. While disappointed, I was prepared for that and told her that would not be possible, and she will be missed at the wedding. We sent out the new invitations with the new date and simply didn't invite invite her, so technically she wasn't invited. Damn! Some of our mutual friends that are in the wedding told me that she'd asked them not to attend in solidarity, but luckily they all thought that was ridiculous. We had a beautiful wedding and spent our honeymoon in the Flinders Ranges. That sounds nice, which I can only recommend. As for my friend, I'm open to reconciliation, but she will have to make the first step. So that's it. Well, it didn't go as I hoped it would. I'm still in a happy place now, enjoying my life as a married woman. Well, congratulations, and that's a bummer. I don't know, this is like hard now. It's like you changed the wedding date, didn't invite her. I don't know what to do. Yeah, it's hard because I just like don't know the severity of the allergies of like if grooming or like sitting in the back.
Ever been stressed waiting on payday, knowing that the bills don't pay? That's where Tilt comes in. Tilt gives you access to up to $400 instantly, no credit check, no interest, and no late fees. They've already extended over $1 billion and have 450,000 5-star reviews just
For like something would remedy this or something. Not that your whole wedding should revolve around a friend, but like if it's a friend of 12 years, I feel like there's a way to figure it out, but I don't know. Just a question, how were you able to be friends with her outside of your wedding? If she has a guide dog, surely it accompanies her wherever she goes. Were you exclusively friends online or via phone? OP said we've been friends long before she got her dog. And I guess she said in the previous post that every time that they got together, they were outside. So I'm assuming that helps. But and she said that she took 2 pills in order to be there, and then she would crash when she got home. So like there's ways that she can not be as allergic, like with medication, but that makes her super drowsy, and she didn't want to have to be uncomfortable drowsy and crash out at her wedding, I guess. Commented on this, she'd asked them not to attend in solidarity. If there was any doubt about your friend, this cleared things up. I'm happy you got to enjoy your wedding. Congratulations. Yeah, it sounds like there's not a whole lot of understanding on the other side. I really do think that you tried to be as accommodating as possible with your allergies and with her disabilities, and it's just a really tricky situation. I don't know. None of these were like, sorry. I don't know.